2019 meeting of the school board will now come to order. Will you join me and rise and win the Pledge of the Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may sit. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to ask that Mr. Mike Barber please introduce a gentleman that we all revere, who's with us tonight and will be with us tomorrow night too. Okay, thank you. Okay, Coach John Harder. Let's give him a big applause. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, board members, Superintendent Saunders. I think it's really appropriate that we're here tonight to talk about the opening of a new high school, because the gentleman that stands to my right, it really is synonymous with serving high school students throughout his career, both in the classroom and on the basketball court. So let me tell you a little bit about him. The relationship that John Harder has had with Southeast High School is more like a wonderful marriage than a career choice. He came to Southeast in 1983 as a social studies teacher and as the head girls basketball coach. He won the state championship in his very first year on the job. And it seems like that Coach Harder just gets more passionate and excited about what he does every single year. The unfortunate thing for us is that Coach Harder will retire from teaching and coaching at the end of this school year. Coach Harder has won 3 state championships, 22 district titles, well more than 820 games at Southeast High School, and he has taken his teams to the state Final Four 7 times, including tomorrow, when his Seminoles travel to Lakeland to face Jacksonville Bishop Kenny at 6 p.m. at the Lakeland Civic Center. John Harder is a member of 2 Basketball Hall of Fames, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association Hall of Fame, and the Florida Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. And this year, he is one of 8 finalists in America in the running to be named the 2019 National High School Athletic Coaches Association National Coach of the Year. With all that said, there's much more to Coach Harder, and to demonstrate that, we'd like to show you a debut of a special hashtag #WeManatee video. So if we could please show that.
John Harder is an educator, a coach, a teacher, a child of God, a father, a brother. I'm hoping a good son. My mom threw out the basketball at the big final buzzer the other night, 92 years old. If I left anything out, it's an admirer of this earth.
And 3 Seminoles. 1, 2, 3 Seminoles.
When you're a boy growing up in the concrete of Chicago and you walk St. Armand's Circle to Lido Beach, there was sun and joy and fun, and I thought, people really live here. I'll just apply before I go home. Dr. Pat Lucas took the application. I had just got back from the vacation, and she called. I couldn't write a script any better than this. It was meant to be. You win the state championship in your very first year, like the movie Hoosiers. You stick around for a couple more years, and coming off the weakness of the Articles of Confederation, you could understand why a Federalist would want to fix the mess. People have callings, but there's also a God above who decides where it's best, and you fit in. I have a lot of faults, but the one talent that I had strength in was in teaching. Teaching and coaching is, I can't wait to get up in the morning and do it. I just absolutely love it. Teaching is a joy. It's the greatest profession in the world. Goodness gracious. And it's hard to leave it. Jerry, you remember what party the candidate came from? I try to give everything that I've got. I always tell the students, all you have to give me is 100% and I'll give you 110%. I fall in love with kids within a day or two. I always give them a week. I tell them that when they come in, that they're stuck with me. I'll be at their wedding, and we're going to graduate together. There are some states that disagreed right off the bat. This is my 45th year, and I have never had a bad day, ever. That's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, to go to the state finals, and 6 times I've taken teams to the Final Four. My stats have brought us to high levels of acknowledgement for 66 scholarships. That's one of my biggest joys, is that the kid could go on to college.
Not a ball game left, but man, am I proud of you. What a start. It's exactly what we needed.
I hope I remember for the teaching I did outside the window. I hope that I'll always be remembered by the average kid that came through here and knew I loved them and thought they were something special, and I wanted them to turn out and graduate to be something special. And that's what I hope that legend means, and legacy, that I'll have made my mark, and they won't take the name off the gym floor. I am Coach Harder, and I am the school district of Manatee County. Proud to say.
Join us at wemanatee.net.
Ladies and gentlemen, the School District of Manatee County is proud to introduce Southeast High teacher and coach John Harder.
Wow. Thank you very, very, very much. I know many of you weren't here in 1920 when I first taught this chair, but it goes like this. I say hip, hip, and for the Manatee County, you answer hooray. Are you ready? Hip, hip! Hooray! Hip, hip! Hooray! Hip, hip! Hooray! Thank you very, very much. I had no words prepared. I didn't know that I was going to speak, but I love to start with that cheer. It means a lot to me that you would recognize me in this manner tonight. There's a lot of things on the board's agenda, and for me to be included is quite an honor. I can't tell you how privileged I've been for Manatee County to continue my contract year after year for 35 years, win or lose. It started in that classroom, and you saw in the video how much God has given me in the way of blessings. I am humbled by the fact that the grace of God has carried me to the 45th year of teaching and coaching. And I couldn't do it without the support of the school board and the community, the students of Southeast, my family. Rhonda's here tonight, David Matson, my good friend, and obviously my team knows that I'm here as we just went through the last practice prior to state. When you think of 45 years of teaching, and this was my last practice, it's done. If we were to win Thursday night, I can't come back on Friday and say to the team, I'll meet you in the gym. You couldn't stretch out a Cinderella story more so than coaching on the last night. Everybody else has been done for a month, and I had to work tonight and made it through the rain to get to this board meeting. Important to me that you celebrated this time with me. It's very, very important. I love all of you, and as I've said at graduation many, many times, it's the best place in the world to be, a teacher of students in a community that appreciates you as much as Manatee County has appreciated me. Southeast High, all of the high schools, junior highs, grade school, we're all counting on you to continue the legacy of education as strong as this county has been. I loved every day, and I'm going to miss you all terribly. Sincerely, I mean that, and I love you. God bless you. Thank you.
Well, we thank you very much.
just want to give you a small token on your days of your retirement to remember Manatee County and how much you meant to us, how much you gave. We so are grateful. And I'm going to be there with you tomorrow night to win that game. Can't wait to see it. Thank you.
Go for it. Thank you.
Also, before we get a photo with the school board, one of the people who works in the Department of Communications for the School District of Manatee County is a former student of yours, and she has a special gift. It's the video series that we do, #WeManatee, so she wants to present this to you.
Wow. She got an A in my class, by the way. A+. Look at that. We are Manatee. Melissa Parker. Thank you. Thank you very much. She was just a kid. Look at her now. They grow up. They do grow up.
Board members, if you'd come in front of the dais, we'd like to get a photo of all of you with Coach Harder. Melissa, do you want to get in there? Yeah. Okay.
Wow. These are tears. What a great, great man. We're honored to have him part of us. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
So moved by Board Member Kennedy.
Second.
Seconded by, I don't know who came in first. We'll say Vice Chair Messenger. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed, nay. It passes unanimously. At this point, I'm going to close the regular meeting and open the public hearing for the board to hear public comments regarding the renaming of North River High School. I'm going to turn this over to our Vice Chair, Gina Messenger, regarding public comments on this particular item. Thank you.
Okay, just to go over the rules. Public comment is not an open forum to discuss matters unrelated to education, to support or oppose candidates for public office, or to engage in commercial speech attempting to sell a service or product to the school board or public. Also, public comment is not a forum to attack individual school system employees or board members. Any such complaints should be submitted in writing to the superintendent for appropriate handling. Finally, this is not a forum for addressing issues involving individual and students. Because of privacy concerns, such issues should be submitted in writing to the superintendent for appropriate handling. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the board. This is a business meeting of the school board, and the public expects that we conduct it in an orderly, efficient, effective, and dignified manner. We request that speakers keep this in mind when making your comments. We also request that the audience keep that in mind and not demonstrate approval or disapproval of what a speaker has said by clapping or booing. The board appreciates the public's input and will listen attentively, consider each comment, and usually will not respond, enter into debate, or answer questions during comments on agenda items or during the public comment section. That said, since this is a different forum, and I'm so happy y'all are here, I'm going to start with the people that have signed up to start with public comment. I'm going to call all of those names. When I call your name, I'd like for all the names that I'm calling to come and sit in the first row. There's a row of reserved seats. We're going to do that so that everyone isn't going up and down, up and down, and down, and then you can't hear what people are saying. So I'm going to call a large group of people all at once to come down and sit in the first row. When that row is done, then I will open it up for more people to come make public comment. If you haven't signed up, that's okay. It's a public hearing, so you can come at any time, but we're going to start with the people that have signed up first. So when I call your name, please come down and sit in one of the first seats in the row. So I'm going to start off with Gretchen Fowler, Mimi Schaefer, Richard Murphy, John Colon, Glenn Gibellina. If I'm saying your name, come on down. Inaki Rizzola, Carol Huntinger, Jean Gallo, Larry Parrish. If I said your name, please come and sit in this first row, and I'm going to go in that order. And then I will, after those people have spoken, then we'll go with anyone else that would like to come up and speak. Gretchen Fowler, you are first. And you are speaking for a group, so you have 5 minutes. And for anyone that cannot see or does not know, there is a timer right here so that if you're coming up to speak, you can see how much time you have right there.
Okay. Chairman Minor and Vice Chair Messenger and the rest of the school board, Superintendent Saunders, thank you for hosting us here and allowing all of the people to join us and have a place to be seen. And I would like to say that I would thank you all for over this time that we have come to all of the meetings and presented over and over again our reasoning for supporting and requesting our town to be supported, and for listening to us as a community. And that's what this is about. It's about community. So I'm going to ask, I'm not going to go over everything we've talked about for so long. Everybody's heard the same things over and over again. But what we're requesting is that the name be renamed to Parish High School. And we have asked that before everybody else got involved and asked us to consider their thoughts too. So we are asking that somehow, some way, to support our community and our town, that Parish be in the name of the new high school, as it is located in the center of Parish, in the heart of our town, and we want to bring our community together, not divide. We are a small town, and we work together, as you saw by the rally that was out there. It was a good old picnic. And I would like to ask that everybody that is here in support of renaming it to reflect our town and our community of Parish, please stand. And I'm hoping that this just shows how we've come together, all generations. It's not about one person. It's not about one family. It's about the community, a community that has come together in support of renaming the high school and not allowing our identity to fade. Thank you.
Thank you. Mimi Schaefer. Part of our policy says there's no clapping or booing. Thank you. Mimi Schaefer.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
are we permitted to ask questions?
No.
Hello, and thank you so much for letting us be here tonight and for opening this up and making it available to the general public. I am overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed at the support we have seen and the big crowd despite the rain. So my plea is just that you will listen to the people of Parish and help us maintain the identity of our precious community by honoring our wishes and naming the school Parish High School or Parish Central High School or some derivative thereof, and include the name Parish and help us maintain the identity and the culture of our community and not let it become, I feel like this current name would be a stepping stone to just maintaining the Lakewood Ranch kind of feel and changing our community, the fabric of our community, into a North Lakewood Ranch or a East Manatee, and that is not what we want. We have a long-standing community. There is a huge history, a long history in this community. There are people who are generations removed from the people who actually came and founded this community, and we ask that you just allow us to maintain the identity and the feel, the culture of our community by naming the high school Parish High School. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Murphy.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Richard Murphy for the record. Let me adjust this mic. We're getting some feedback from the speakers. That's my old radio days when I worked in radio. But anyway, folks, I'm a former teacher in the district, taught here 3.5 years. I have grandkids in the system, and they've been here since 2001. My daughter moved here, and then she had my grandson and my granddaughter. They come up through elementary, middle school, Buffalo Creek, and my grandson's now at Lakewood Ranch. And I just think that 2 years ago when I saw this on Facebook, and I asked my daughter about it, she says, yeah, they're talking about naming the school and so on. And all the names were put out there on Facebook. And I asked her, did you ever get anything from the school board from the schools or anything about what you as a parent or your child would like to have these named? And she said, no, Dad, I never did. No letter, no nothing. So that's gone and passed. So my point was, at the time, I said, well, you could either name it Parish High School or Parish Community High School because you got PHS. Everybody's talking about PHS. We don't want the symbols PHS because of sporting and branding and so on. I understand that. Again, my thoughts are you either go with Parish High School or Parish Community High School. If you have a conflict with Parish High School being PHS and Palmetto High School, that's your decision. It does serve students from all over Parish. There will be kids from Palmetto, Lakewood Ranch. Wherever the growth is, they're going to come. They're going to choice. They're coming in. So I think you got a couple things you got to look at. You can tell by the people from Parish, they're very adamant about that school, and I don't blame them. I guarantee you, if it's named in some fashion after Parish, they'll be there to support that school in more ways than you can count. And that's what you need is the community behind you. My experience is we've always named, as a former school board member and superintendent in Florida, we've always named schools after the community they served. Bayshore High School, Bayshore Community. Southeast Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch, Parish Community High School, whichever way you got to do it. Palmetto High School. I think that's the way it should be. If I was on the board, I would weigh those things. And I would look at the community that's behind you. I mean, you've got a community out here. You've got small business people like my daughter. You've got farmers. You've got people that are very adamant about their town. Their community. It is a community. And I would appreciate your consideration and name that school one fashion or the other. Parish High School or Parish Community High School. Because it's going to serve not only high school students, it should serve adult schools at the same time. That's my suggestion. Thank you.
John Colon was on the list. I don't see him. One more call for John Colon. Okay. Mr. Givalina, come on down.
Good evening, Superintendent and Board. My name is Glenn Gibalina for the record. Thought I was going to talk about future agenda items, but I can chat about this. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be up to the community, but what I haven't heard is really much input from the students. I mean, they're going to be our future leaders. They're going to make the decisions for our community at the end of the day. My suggestion would be is just keep it the no-name school, go through a semester, and let the kids, the students, decide on the name. It very well may be Parish Community. It very well may be Parish High School. But without their input, it's just the name of a school. So let's get the kids in there. You know, we could call it the Pat Neal High School for now, I don't know. You know, and just, you know, roll with something for a year, and let the children decide, let the students decide. Have interaction and conversation with the principal and with the school administration, and do a vote there. Let them decide. Their parents are all behind them, I'm sure. But you never know. They might come up with something very different than what the community wants. So I think at the end of the day, it's up to the students. I think this needs to be held off for a year and have some type of quorum and an essay or a school vote on it, and let the students decide. And whatever the students will decide, I guarantee you the parents will back them, because it's their future we're looking at. So I think we should leave it up to the students.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Rizzola.
Good evening, Superintendent and board members. Someone who's made Parish my home for 15 years, I'm here to talk to you today about the naming of the high school. I know there are some concerns out there regarding the use of the name Parish. One of those is whether the acronym's going to work. Well, call it Parish Senior High. That way you don't have a cross-town rivalry with Palmetto. Or maybe that may not be a bad thing. A more serious concern is the issue of is Parish being named after a slave owner. And it's my understanding that it was named after the son, not the father. And I think Reverend Golden probably would be a better indicator here about what the good book talks about in terms of the sins of the father. But how far back do each of us have to go in our own genealogy to maybe look at a history that we're not so proud of? What does the future hold? You know, and as a community that holds one of the largest solar plants in the state of Florida, I would say the future of Parish is very bright. But regardless of where we go with that, it is a serious issue. I would actually make it a requirement in history class, and I believe Kennedy Charlie teaches history, that we study and explore the history of Parish, both the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it should not just be 1 month out of the year that we talk about race or slavery, any of those issues. So, you know, we certainly need to address these issues. My final reason is a personal, selfish one. I work in the Tampa Bay area. Every time I tell somebody I live in Parish, they go, huh? And it's like, I have to go, hey, have you been to the Ellington Outlet Mall? Oh, yeah. And then it's like, well, you get off that exit and go a couple miles down the road. Wouldn't it be great that in a couple years, someone goes, hey, that's the school that won that championship? Or didn't they send a team to Dubai for the F1 tournament and came in first? So Parish High School, Parish Senior High, whatever we call it, I think certainly it reflects the community, and high schools do bond with the community. Finally, I think Coach Harder has left, but my son goes to Southeast High. And I would be remiss if I don't say, and I think everyone here today would probably agree, go Noles. Thank you.
Next is Miss Hutninger, sorry.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Huttinger. I have lived in this town for many, many years. Palmetto High, wonderful school. We've had to fight for everything we wanted over here. Now we've got Parish. And you know, isn't it a shame that every time something started, something has to be said about slavery, race, and everything else? Why can't we all get together? Parish is a wonderful, wonderful town. And it needs to be Parish High School. These people here, all of you, you are a wonderful, wonderful bunch of people, families, everything. And they will stick behind this school. Please name it Parish High School. And the developers, they need to stay out of it. Yes, they should be. They think money talks. Well, the people have a right to say what they want. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gallo.
Mr. Chairman, School Board, Superintendent, thank you for the opportunity to provide my 2 cents. I'm not a newcomer. I've lived in Manatee County for 65 years. I graduated from Manatee High School. My daughters graduated from Manatee High School. My grandsons have graduated from Manatee High School. I've got nephews that graduated from Bay Shore. So I feel like I'm a hometown boy. I want to go back just a little bit in history when the school board, years and years ago, made somewhat of a similar mistake. When they built Southeast High School, the correct name for that school should have been Samoset High School. That was the community it was built in. Nobody said a lot, but there were a lot of people outside who had a lot of pride living in Samoset for years, their families, and they felt hurt. And I don't want to see that happen again. I think the school board learned a lesson on that particular naming the next school. You know, when they built Bayshore, it was Bayshore, Braden River was Braden River, Lakewood Ranch, those are all communities. And Parish is one of the finer communities that we have in Manatee County. I know many, many, many people out there. I went to high school with a number of the Parish boys that their last name was Parish, and they have a lot of pride. And I think it's deserving that that school be named after their community. That would be Parish High School.
Thank you. And Mr. Parrish.
Well, once again, I thank you for this opportunity to come here and speak to you. I'm not going to say too much about it, but we went over this the last time we talked about the race issue and the slave issue, and I pointed out that my great-great-grandfather, Crawford Parrish, was born in Georgia and moved to Florida, and after the Civil War, moved down into Central Florida, and didn't arrive to Parish and to stay there permanently. He was a cattleman and a cattle trader, and he was back and two between Parish and Tampa, where the commerce was. And he didn't come to Parish and stay there until 1895. So I don't think that's too much of an issue, and I'm hoping that people don't look at it that way, because I don't see that as an important thing, because the people that Parish was named after, as I will reiterate now, was John Parrish and Crawford Jr., his sons. John Parrish was 12 years old when he came to Parish. So he probably didn't own any slaves, and nobody else in Parish owned any slaves in 1895. I would like to tell you that, and you know my background is, I grew up in Parish, and I grew up on Spencer Parish Road. And I graduated from Palmetto High School, and like I told you last time, I went to Manatee Community College long enough to learn how to shoot pool. And after that was over, well, I joined the Army. And I was in the old guard in Washington, D.C., and then I was sent to Vietnam, and I was in a combat infantryman. When I got out, I went to work for the Florida Highway Patrol. When I was on the patrol, the last 18 years, I was in the Investigation Bureau. I didn't wear a uniform. And I did an awful lot of undercover work buying and stolen trucks and heavy equipment. And during that time, I had a lot of cases with a lot of lawyers. And a good lawyer friend of mine, whose name is Dick Morris, he's passed away now from Polk County. But Dick, one time, he beat us in one of those early cases. And I said, Dick, how did you do that? We had everything there. We had videotape. We had wires that I'm wearing. We had everything. He said, I'll tell you how I did it, Larry. He said, it's a real slick trick. Well, he told me how he did it, and I'm going to tell you. But I made sure that he never beat me again, because I knew what he did. Because what he did, he said, I show the jury a bright, shiny object up here, a bright, shiny ball. And this ball will be over here, and at the same time, I'm feeding them something over here. And I thought that's pretty interesting, until one day I was able to slap the ball out of his hand, and when I did, I saw that it was filled with empty promises and money he made off of his clients.
Thank you, Mr.
So
Parrish.
I'll ask you to vote appropriately. Remember that these are the people
Thank you,
back here
Mr.
that you
Parrish.
represent. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so all my folks that are in the front row, you can go back to your seats, and we're going to have another group of people come to the front row. Since those were all the people that had signed up, I'm going to ask that if there's anyone else that would like to speak to, please raise your hand. And I will start calling people down. Okay, I see 3 folks in the very back. You can come on down. You're already there, right? Yeah. Okay, you're behind the podium. I can't tell. You can come on down. So that would be 4 or 5. In the blue shirt, come on down, come on down, come on down. Okay, let's see how many seats that fills up. I see you. Just hold on 1 second. I just want to see how many seats we filled up. Okay, the man in the black shirt, come on down, and the man in the white We Are Paris shirt, why don't you just come on up? And since I do not have your names for the record, I ask that when you come down that you please state your name clearly and spell your last name so that we have that for the record. Come on down, you have 3 minutes.
My name is Stan Skriloff, and it's spelled Skriloff. To the superintendent and the board, I want to say thank you for this opportunity. I have 3 grandchildren that will be going to that school, and so some of what I have to say has already been said, but I would just like to make the point that I went to New Brunswick High School in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and I have fond memories of going to that school, and that school was part of our community where I grew up and lived. And so when we moved to the Parish Palmetto area, I looked around at the school system and watched what the schools' names were, and for a while I was going to the schools as a representative, and it seemed to me that Palmetto High School was in the town of Palmetto. Lakewood Ranch High School was named Lakewood Ranch High School, not South River High School. Braden River High School was named Braden River because they were in the Braden River community, as well as the only one that didn't fit to me was Southeastern, but Bayshore High was also in the Bayshore Gardens community of Manatee County. And so Parish is a strong and growing community, and the people of Parish all have pride in the fact that Parish is growing and Parish is our town. And so we would ask you to consider naming the high school Parish High School or Parish Community High School. I personally don't see the problem with PHS. People are smart enough. We've educated them in Manatee County schools. They can figure out PHS and PHS. And so what I would ask you to consider is Parish High School for the Parish community.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to go down the row. So the man in the black shirt, come on down. Please say your name clearly and spell your last name for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Al Davis. Last name spelled D-A-V-I-S. As far as Parish goes, I'm probably the person that's in this room out of everybody in here that probably lost the most of that with the school being built, because the school is right where I grew up at. Right there, that southern corner, that is exactly where I grew up at. Went to Palmetto High, I was born and raised. The other thing I can say is, you know, there's word about the slave name and everything else, but the school board went ahead and named Braden River after the Bradens when they built Braden River a few years ago. Is that, you know, a conflict right there? You still have, excuse me, you still have Gamble Plantation, which you had numerous slaves, and you've taken multiple kids there to take senior pictures, class pictures, whatever, but it's still there. So I'm not against that, but also I think it should be Parish High School or Parish Community High School, or you even say the central part, because if you say that central part of Parish, it should be Parish Central High School. But I grew up there, and some of my best friends, I can go to Mr. Joe Whitten, his sons were some of my best friends. We grew up out there. The Darcys, Ross Darcy, he was one of my best friends growing up. Also, some of the parishes. some of, like Miss Joanne Rogers that passed away. We never had any problems. And as kids, when we were growing up, we wanted to have a high school that was named Parish High School. We used to always say, we wish we could have Parish High School instead of a Palmetto High School. That was the biggest thing that we wanted as kids growing up here. I mean, because when they bust 100 of us from, you know, blacks and whites, Spanish, whatever, to Palmetto High School, you got 100 of us going on a bus, you know, just to Palmetto High School, when they only had probably about 400 kids total. You know, we wanted Parish High School. And like I said, I lost the most of it because it's right there on the property that I grew up in. But, you know, times change, you know, you got to have progress. But I think the correct thing would be to still keep the name of Parish High, you know, Parish High School to represent the community of Parish, because we've always been a strong community, forever and a day. Because I remember the days when nobody even wanted to come to Parish. You know, they wouldn't go past Ellington. And anybody that's lived here knows that. Would they? Would they even want to come past Ellington? No. So now how are you going to move in here and try to take Parish away from us? You know, I don't think it should be Neal High School. Neal, the family didn't live out there or anything. I think it should be Parish High School. I think it'd be injustice if you didn't name it Parish High School. And I think most of the people that sit here feel the same way. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Come on down. Please state your name clearly and spell your last name for the record.
My name is Robert Cummings, last name Cummings, and I'm a little nervous. I've never did this before, but when I saw it on Facebook and just starting to find out about it, something just didn't touch me right. But I just want to, you know, I think the elephant in the room is the slave issue is an issue, and it's getting more popular now. So I have nothing against Parish, you know. It's a nice place, and I understand that they want it to be named Parish, but I think that just keep it on level. It should be exactly what they done named it, North River or any other school, high school. But I don't think it need to be Parish for that fact, because nowadays, I mean, they done took down statues and everything about, you know, the slave owners and all this, so why should we name a school after a slave owner? I think that's going backward. And I also don't understand why would that even be an issue? You know, it ain't about the Parish people. I think they would have been all right with another school. But why should the children start going to this school and then going and saying, you know, it'll be a talk about the school that it's a slave owner high school, and you know, a lot of people probably wouldn't want to go that are color, or, you know, and I think it's starting out wrong. I mean, I understand it's a nice community, but, and I hear him speak back about the great-great-granddaddy, but he say the son wasn't but 12, but the great-granddaddy he was a slave owner still. You can't get out of that. So why should the school be named that way the children gonna be conflicting and about that issue? It will be an issue, because that's what is now going down. It will be an issue. I guarantee you it will be an issue. So I'm against the Parish name, not against the Parish community. I love Parish, but I am against the Parish name for the fact that what it's all about, way back to the great-great-granddaddy. So that's what I want to speak and get that off my chest, and what goes forward is fine with me.
Thank you.
I'm a little short. My name's Ashley Johns, Johns. I own Parish Elite, and I'm glad that some people have brought up the kids, the next generation, because that's kind of my business. I am a cheer and tumbling gym. My kids range from 2 years old to 18, and they usually don't leave after that. So when I started my gym, I had a choice, right? What am I going to name this? I can name it anything in the world. I can name it Cheer and Tumbling School, period. But I named it Parish. And I'll tell you why I named it Parish Elite. Because I am from the Parish community. I've lived here for 10 years. When I started my business, I had actually only lived here for maybe 4 or 5 years. But the reason why I named it Parish is because I'm a military brat. I don't have a home. I've never had a home. A lot of these folks I see you, stand up if you're military. or if you're a military child. And they all stayed here. Thank you, sir. And they all stayed here. And thank you guys for your service. And even the kids, you deal with your parents being in the service. They stayed here. And what we have developed is a community. And to be honest with you, I didn't know about Mr. Parrish. I didn't know anything about why Parrish was named Parrish before, actually a couple months ago. But I didn't name Parrish Elite because of Mr. Parrish and his granddaddy and some cattle on a farm. I named Parrish Elite because I go to Publix and I know my neighbor. My kids, when I don't make it to the YMCA to pick up from the Rowlett bus, I call my neighbor, she picks them up. Or I call my best friend, Gretchen Fowler, and she picks them up. Or if I forgot something at the store, my neighbor, oh man, you know what, you're at Publix too? Hey, can you grab me this? Because when my kids are outside misbehaving, my neighbor from 8 doors down comes and knocks on my door. Hey, your kid was acting like a fool outside. Okay, I'll handle it. That is a community. That is what we need. When we have an issue, this is what happens. This has nothing to do with somebody's name. Mr. Parrish got the name, or Parrish got named the name however 100 many years ago. That has nothing to do with me. I named Parrish Elite because of the community that we are. The strength that we have in that community is unlike any other. Being a military brat, I've seen so many different types of communities. And as a nation, we are completely divided. Nobody picks up somebody on the side of the road anymore. Nobody helps your neighbor with a flat tire. Nobody's gonna mow your grass when you're gone. Parrish is different. And when I'm teaching these kids, I'm teaching them this culture, the culture that we need to have as Americans. We need to reach out and help each other, right? This is what we need to teach our kids. We need to teach our kids about forgiveness because the sins of my father are not my sins.
Thank you.
Parrish High School.
Thank you. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Betty Sales Rose, R-H-O-D-E-S. In the first beginning, we shouldn't be here anyway.
I'm sorry, I don't want to stop you, but can you spell your name one more time?
Okay. R like in Ron, H-O-D-E-S.
Thank you.
Okay, in the first beginning, we shouldn't even be here talking about Parrish High School. No, I don't want a Parrish High School. Listen, I was born during the segregation days, and I know where we can go by staying here in Palmetto. But I'm not going to get on that issue. The issue is this. We had 3 board members to bring it up. We had the attorney to tell them they had to wait 6 months. I was there in that meeting, and I spoke. It never have been done with the school board, but all of a sudden, and I know, Gina, this is your district parish, that it was going to come up again. It should be North River High School, and like somebody else was up here saying about they had to get bused here. Hey, you're going to have to come in my neighborhood to bus kids out there. So what we got to say? We don't have no say-so in this? Parrish High School, it should have stayed North River High School. North River High School. Because you know why? It bringing all the community together. And listen, I'm going to tell you why I don't like it. I had some bad experience this summer putting out signs for the candidate that I like. Went to the fertilizer place, the guy who owned right next to the place. The guy said we could put up the sign. The guy came out, I'm not going to call any name, but I have it on record, that he said, you better not put that sign up there. I said, well, the owner told us to do it. He said, yeah, but I own that store too. So we went back in, the guy said he didn't know that he couldn't tell because he paying what he have to pay to put up a sign. And every sign we put out there in Parrish was defaced because I'm my candidate. No, I'm not going to go with it. And then when Parrish came up, only 2 votes was done for Parrish. So why all of a sudden all these people here talking about Parrish High School? And another thing y'all doing, you're going to take some kids away from Palmetto because already we don't drop down to 6A. So I guess y'all projecting the kids going to come from Palmetto High out to Parrish. No, they're not going to do that. If you got kids that fill up, if you come Parrish High School, fill up with the kids out there in Parrish. And I'm going to let you know, I'm not prejudiced, I'm nothing like that, but I'm going to stand my ground. When it was voted on for North River High School. So I guess they got to you to reopen the vote. The attorney did it, and we had 3 votes. Hope and Cologne, they voted against it. It was Kennedy, Manor, and you that voted for it. And no, I'm not going. Only thing I can say is this. Election will be coming up pretty soon. You don't let nobody tell you what to do. You're supposed to have your own say-so and know that it already was voted on North River High School. And a thing I'm going to say again, you're still going to have to get our kids from our neighborhood to take it out there to fill that school. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on down.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. My name's Don Dobish, D as in Delta, O, B as in Bravo, ESH. As you can tell, my wife and I are strong supporters of naming the school Parish High School. I could probably go with Parish Community if it has to go that way. We moved to Parish about 1 year ago after 40 years in the Chicago area, 30 years in Orlando. We were happy to get to a small town community life that Parish is. We have wonderful neighbors and a wonderful sense of community, far better than we ever experienced in Chicago or Orlando. We're very happy to be here, and we would certainly like the community to retain that flavor, the small town flavor, recognizable as what it is. I was going to make one quick point, I'll just make 2. Our children, who obviously are out of high school now and gone, but our grandchildren may attend the school. Our children were taught to love everyone. Old history was never brought up. Children learn from what their parents tell them. And if they get off track on that, their parents need to correct them, as ours were. Our children and my wife and I have many friends from many different cultures. We love all of them, and they love us. They would do anything for us. We would do anything for them. Second point, I understand, as we got here a little late, we've only been here a year, there was some reason the naming of the school got a little off track. People maybe have been confused over what the name could be. And I guess I understand it should not be named after a person or whatever. That I'm not sure. That's why we're here tonight. But my worry is, after 40 plus years in the business community, financial executive and that it's important that we not let one faction, one developer, one area sway everyone. If you name the school or whatever now after a developer, whatever they want to put into a community, what about the next developer that comes along? Maybe they want to name some other part of the community something else. Where do you draw the line there? Parish is a unique town, should retain the unique flavor. The developer won't live here, their children won't go to school here, but all these folks have a community here where their children and grandchildren will go to school. So I'd be very happy if the name was Parish. Thank you very much.
Come on down.
My name is Allie Bergman, Bergmann. I am a resident of Parish for almost 20 years. As my shirt says, it's Palmetto versus all y'all, and it very much feels like that all the time. I vehemently oppose another PHS north of the river. Palmetto Community, Palmetto Central, Parish Community, Parish Central, whatever, not Parish High School. I'll also say I graduated from Bayshore High School, Sugg Middle School, and Prine Elementary School. I've been here all of my life. In fact, back in the 80s, I was busted smoking in the bathroom by sweet Miss Betty Rhodes, who was just up here a few minutes ago. We are, and I don't speak just for myself, I speak for One Town, One Team, Tiger Nation when I say not another PHS. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on down, Mayor.
Shirley Groover Bryant. You want me to spell it? SHIRLEY GROOVER And you'll recognize me as the mayor of the city of Palmetto, Florida. But I'm here tonight on my own behalf. I'm really concerned that for the future, we're not in any disagreement about the name of the new high school. If they want the community, they want to embrace their heritage. And so as does Palmetto High School. it's been Palmetto High School for over 100 years. So that PHS is very significant to the members of my community where I live in Palmetto. I feel like I have a foot in both areas, both Parish and Palmetto, because I've grown up here my whole life. So I've spent my whole life north of the river. So that being said, I would tell you for the Tiger Country, it's very, very important to us that there be one PHS. And we don't have an issue with Parish adding community high school or something like that. I think that's amenable to most of this group. Their concern is the name of the community and embracing their heritage and their history and where they've come from and evolved to today. So I would ask you to consider adding another word in there as to make the acronym different than PHS. So I respectfully request that, and we'll be seeing you on some other issues in the future. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Come on down, Rachel.
Hi, y'all. My name is Rachel Kendzior, Kendz, as in zebra, IOR. Chairman, Vice Chairwoman, Superintendent, thanks for having me. I had no intention of speaking tonight, so we're clear. So surprise, I'm back. Just sitting up there, I see we're all one community, but I am standing here on behalf of Palmetto High. We are one town, one team, and we are requesting not Parish High School. Do we respect they want Parish in the name? Yes. Do we respect that they're a community? Yes. But we're all a community. We are Manatee County, period. I graduated from Manatee High School. Many of us have graduated from Bayshore, Southeast, and we're all around. We're also a choice community. So we have the ability to choice into different schools. The location of where you live doesn't necessarily make you a part of just one school or another. But let's not dump on Palmetto any more than we have recently, and let's respect the history that is there. Let's respect Palmetto High School, respect PHS. If that's your call later in the vote, that's up to you. I will say north of the river encompasses that new school, what you choose to call it, will encompass community members from Parish, Ellington, Bradenton, Palmetto, probably Myakka. We always have some that kind of choice in from other communities. It's going to be a community. Your community is that school, and that is what they make of it. So no matter what the name is, no matter what it is, the community is what those kids, those teachers, those parents, however it goes down, whether you like it or not, y'all got to love each other and get along. And we are one community in Manatee County. But I will just end on, please, leave PHS as it is. You want to put a PC in there, community, that's all good too. But just one PHS. We are one town, one team, one Tiger Nation. Thank you.
Come on down.
Good evening. My name is Brian Heineman, H-I-N-A-M-A-N. Thank you all very much for allowing us to come together at this venue, large enough to house everybody to show their support. My argument is very basic. I don't see any justification for North River. Where does that come from? Military jargon SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedure. It's SOP to name a first high school in a city after the name of that city or town or the county. Miami, first high school, Miami-Dade. The Orlando, first high school, Orlando High School. Tallahassee's first high school, Leon High School. Tallahassee's in Leon County, just like in Tampa. Tampa's first high school is Hillsborough High School. Bradenton's first high school, Manatee High School in Manatee County. And Sarasota's first high school is Sarasota. It's pretty cut and dry. First high school in Parish should be Parish High School. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, public comment is still open. If you would like to come down and speak, please raise your hand. Okay, Mr. Jones, come sit down. Man in the hat, come on down. Come on down, red shirts. Yep, come on down. And did I see anyone else? Okay, and there's Mr. Cologne. Mr. Cologne, are you going to speak to the naming of the high school tonight? Well, you were on the list. I called your name. Why, since you run the name, why don't you start us off? Come on down. You got 3 minutes, Mr. Cologne.
Sorry about that, everybody. The new North River High School is being built to service the entire county. Students will be attending the school from Lakewood Ranch High School, Braden River, Palmetto, Southeast High will also be sending students to this school. Some of the schools are currently over capacity by significant amounts. Programs will be offered at the new North River High School that are not being offered in some of our other institutions. We want to ensure that all our students who graduate are college or career ready so that they can participate in society as gainfully employed citizens. North River High School is not being built on land that was donated. This land was purchased by the school board at significant expense and was paid for by all the citizens of Manatee County, whether in West Bradenton, Anna Maria Island, Holmes Beach, South County, Palmetto, Parish, Samoset, Anico, or any other of our designated areas. The school was originally budgeted at $70 million. However, this has morphed into a cost that now stands at approximately $92 million, an extremely large capital outlay for all the citizens of our county. Take a look at your tax bill. You will see that 3 lines on your tax bill are set up to support schools. So this is not something in which all of our citizens don't participate. This is a large capital outlay with the issuance of bonds that will be paid back by the entire tax base of Manatee County. Because let's face it, there's no free ride for anyone. North River High School belongs to the entire county. However, recognizing that it is located in Parish, I want to suggest that the new name posted on the school be North River High School at Parish. I feel that this would give the entire county ownership, especially the areas north of the river, but it would also pay homage to the fact that it is located in the Parish community. I want to thank all your board members for your diligent work, and I hope you consider this as a viable compromise, because I think that'll work for the Parish community as well as the other communities north of the river and the entire Manatee County citizenry. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cologne. Okay, we're good. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
We're going to start with the first person in the row. Come on down.
How are you doing? My name is Joe Zig, Z-I-E-G. I didn't even plan on getting up here to speak, but the one thing I do want to say, speaking as me as an African American, my name personally came from slave trade. I keep hearing people talking about a name in history. This is history. For my name to come from a slave trade and for this school to even have anything to do with it is a conflict of interest. And my son has to go to this school because the district has changed. So you are taking him and making him go there unless I do school of choice. So when we talk about this name, it is important. It's very important. It's important to everybody. So when that happens, you talk about the Southeast, the Bay Shores, Palmettos. These are not conflicts of interest. This is. We shouldn't even be here right now. If it was a problem with the name, the community should speak out and it should be over with. We shouldn't even be having this discussion because I can't have my name back. I don't even know what it would be. It's after a slave. I mean, it's after a plantation, can I say. So when we keep going back and forth about this, if it's a conflict of interest, just stop it. Let's go to the first name it was originally with. And if it is in Parish, and I have nothing against these people of Parish because they had nothing to do with that. But now that it is happening, what are we still talking about? What is the argument about? it's just puzzling, and it's hard for me to take in that my son has to go here, and something is going to happen if we keep doing this, because we're going to send our kids to the school, like the lady said earlier. They're going to get them from Palmetto, Bradenton River, Lakewood Ranch, and they're going to combine at this school. And when one thing bad happens, just one, to a person, a brown person, or even whatever happens, it's going to be a big issue, and all of us going to be back in this room talking about, because we named it this after somebody who had slaves. And when you do that, that's when everybody has to come back in this room and start all over again to rethink this and maybe we shouldn't have did this, or maybe we shouldn't have did that. We're here now, so let's just cut it dry and go to the next subject. It's taking too long. Thank you. That's all I had to say.
Thank you. Come on down.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, board members. My name is Paul Eckley, E-C-K-L-E-Y, and I live in a small hamlet called Forest Creek. I am here tonight because I believe that the parish name needs to be in that high school. I spent 20 years in the military, and I taught for 20 years in Miami. Not naming a school for its location or its history would say the first thing we need to do is remove the name Washington from the monument, because he had slaves also. So if we're going to go back in that direction, we need to do it all the way. But one should not have anything to do with the other. This is a school where children come to learn. And if anything else, that's the thing they can learn about, because it is all of our heritage. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bustle.
Good evening, Board. My name is Brian Bustle, B-U-S-T-L-E, and I had not intended to speak tonight because I thought that the issue of Parish High School was pretty much off the table, having listened to a lot of folks from that community. And of course, I'm a person that's pretty much lived my entire life here in North Manatee County, particularly Palmetto, and spent a lot of time in Parish, still do. I have great respect for the people there in that community. However, I'd ask you at this time to do a little thought experiment. 10 years from now, we're talking about what to name the new school in Myakka. I can tell you, we would not be having a discussion tonight about whether to name that school Myakka High School. But as we've discussed in town hall meetings recently, and I appreciate all of the board members being there, Ms. Saunders, thank you for your participation and hearing us out. We do really appreciate that. But there's a deep undercurrent in the Palmetto community right now where people feel like we've been disrespected, we've been diminished as a high school because of the lack of support financially for our school. And I speak now as a Palmetto High grad, and I don't have any kids there anymore, but they all went through there. But this is a school I live maybe a half a mile from, and I still do the Palmetto High football games where I announce them. And I love this school, and I want to see them do well. But I can tell you, there's a lot of anger right now in the Palmetto community. And should PHS be given to the new school, I don't know what's going to happen in terms of what Palmetto may do. And I'll just tell you, right offhand, right now, there is a lot of talk in the Palmetto community about Palmetto High becoming a charter school. I'm not advocating that right now, but I can tell you, if things continue to go down the same path they're going down, I'll be pushing for that. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, come on down.
Hey, good evening. Rodney Jones here, Jones. I'm speaking on behalf of the Manatee County branch of the NAACP as its president. This is a tough one. I'm kind of outnumbered back here. Real proud of the parish community and what they've been able to assemble. I think that is what community is about. Just to tell you what our course of behavior has been, after the original tussle over the name, I reached out to the Parish Civic Association, and I got in touch with Gretchen Fowler, who's now and Freddie Fowler, who are now my good friends. I want to claim them. I think they're some wonderful people, and they have treated me nothing but with respect and kindness, and I appreciate them. And I do understand their situation. You know, the real elephant in the room is growth. You know, we got uncontrolled growth, and they feel like their town is being wiped off the map. And I understand that because we've got similar issues in our community where we feel like we're on the verge of gentrification in our community where we ran out of Manatee County due to our social economic. So I understand that. But I've heard everybody talk about a lot of history and, you know, the history of the town and the history of the family, but no one seems to respect our history here. We have a much different story to tell. We have a story of hardship here in America. We have a story of lynchings here in America and rape and murder due to slavery, illegitimate children due to slavery. That is our history. That's a research and proven fact. That's not some conjecture that I'm making up. So when we talk about history, and this is a United States problem, that the country was built on the back of slaves. The South was built on the back of slaves. Abraham Lincoln did not free the slaves for the joy of humanity. He freed the slaves to break the economics of the South. So we have a lot of bitter history as it relates to slavery and the treatment of people, the inhumanity and the treatment of people. So, you know, I think our history somewhat trumps the township, because when we talk about losing the history of the town, how about losing the history of everything you should have known? As the gentleman got up to say, my name is Rodney Jones. That's not my name. That is a slave name. That last name is a slave name that was given to me when I was bought and sold here. So I think that history alone would indicate that we need some form of change. And as we view it, we feel like the clock is being turned back. Right now in the United States, schools are more segregated now than they were in 1968 at the time of King's death. So we don't see progress at all with the culture now in America and racism being at an all-time high. You know, I know Gretchen said that she felt like it was a slap in the face, and I love that family. And y'all can call on me anytime, and I'll be there, and that's my promise to y'all for what y'all have shown me. But we just can't agree on this issue. But I hope that we're still friends after, and we can still connect, and we can still work together. But there's no way that we should even be considering this right now, just based on the historical context of the name. You know, we heard about Bayshore and Southeast and Sarasota High and Hillsborough High. Those names have a much different connotation. Those places are named after a county, and I don't know whether they were people's names or whatever, but it's a much different connotation now than it is to just say, well, we're just naming it after a location. There's some connotation that carries along with that, which much of society nowadays views as negative. And like I said, I've got nothing against the parish community, and you know, I'm really impressed by the way they assemble and gather and group up, and I wish my community was as strong at times to, you know, assemble what you have today. But that still doesn't change the fact of the historical context of the name. It's simple. So once again, you know, my confidence is really shaken in this board. To be honest with you, this is not a personal attack. This is a personal opinion. I mean, we've seen some really outlandish things from our board. We've questioned the decision of how Ms. Saunders even got there, you know, and so we don't have a lot of confidence in this board, and I think a large part of our community does. So once again, your character will be tested tonight. So I appreciate the time, and I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Fish, F-I-S-H, like swims in the sea. Just wanted to say when first learned of the high school being built in Parrish, was very excited. We are very excited to have it. It's a real step forward in our community to have local schooling. You're building an elementary school out I have the high school on one entrance of my community and the elementary school literally at the other entrance of my community. And I think the thing for at least people I talk to and myself is that Parrish is kind of a sleepy little village, and we like that. It is a community. It feels like a real community, a small town community, and we like that. We know that Parrish is going to change. We know that it is growing. We know that it's not always going to be exactly what it is today or was 10 years ago. But we don't want to lose our identity of who we are in that process. And that, I think, is why keeping Parrish in the high school name is so important to us. We understand there's lots of students that will be coming from other areas to go to that school, but it will be in Parrish, and we call it Parrish, and we live in Parrish. And that's why it's so important for us to have that name. So when I hear the Palmetto folks coming in and talking about how passionate they are about their community high school, that's exactly how we want to be about our community high school. And we want to be able to talk about, you know, one parish strong and have our parish chants. And so I think that's where a lot of, at least for me and other people I talk to, the importance of having parish in the name comes from. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi, my name is Hunter Parrish. My peers, I don't know if you came here, my peers brought up the issue of youth involvement and youth voting. I am henceforth 3 years removed from high school, and I'm here to speak on the youth that we should name the high school Parrish High School. You brought up the issue of PHS. As someone who is a young adult and is around fellow adolescents and young adults, we can differentiate between PHS Palmetto High School and PHS Parrish High School. Also, Parrish is not named after a slave owner. It is named after his son. I would like to add that on. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, friends, is there anyone else that would like to come on down? Anyone else? Speak now or forever. Come on down, sir.
Evening. My name is Jim Parrish, P-A-R-R-I-S-H. And thank you for this opportunity. My concern about things like PHS, in all my life, I went to James Madison High School up in Virginia. When everybody said, hey, where you go to high school? Oh, I go to JMHS. Hell no, you never did that. Nobody ever says where they're PH. I don't even know why this is an issue. I could see the name being an issue more than that, but I mean, anyways, I just don't understand that. It's crazy. I had a whole bunch of stuff. Anyways, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is David Bailey, B-A-I-L-E-Y. I wasn't going to do this tonight, but first of all, commend you guys for revisiting this since it was done improperly the first time. I appreciate y'all taking the time and the heat, trying to address it wrong and fix it and make it right. For a lot of you that don't know Parrish, all you got to do is turn around and you'll see Parrish. All these folks at one time or another have supported me, my kids, my grandkids, the property I live on right now that I've raised my grandkids on and my kids, I've been on since 1972. My first trip to Parrish, you could actually smell orange trees. You'd be hard pressed to find an orange tree in Parrish right now. The developers are stealing our heritage. And I don't think we need a bunch of communities named after somebody's marketing scheme, renaming roads so it fits their marketing scheme. We need to keep something that's still a common piece of our community, and that is Parrish. Because these folks back here, you can count on them, I guarantee you. I've been raised with them. So, you know, I get the PHS thing. If it could be Parrish Community High School, if that knocks that flack off, that's fine. I don't think it ought to be named after somebody's marketing scheme. So thank you all again.
Thank you. Any other takers? Anyone else? Please come down to the front row if there's anyone else.
One time only.
Is there anyone, before you speak, is there anyone else that would like to come down? I have 3 people here. Is there anyone else? This will, come on down. Come sit in the front row, please. Anyone else? Last call, as Mr. Kennedy said. Any other friends? Okay. All right. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. My name is Debbie Dykes. Last name is D-Y-K-E-S. Thank you, School Board, for readdressing this issue. And I have spoken before, and some of the things that I have said before haven't been mentioned tonight, so that's the only reason I'm here again. I will be having several grandchildren that probably will be attending this school. And as a taxpayer, I know that I am part of the community of Parish location for the school. Parish zip code is 34219. That is the zip code for this location. It is in the Parish Fire District. It is not in the North River Fire District. Palmetto High School is in the North River Fire District. Palmetto High School is also north of most of the river. There's hardly any river south of Parish High School area, hardly any. And we are very fortunate that we can have school choice where students can attend pretty much wherever they want to, as long as there's room for them, even in a different county. So I applaud the folks from Parish who are here tonight, and I really do hope that you will name the school Parish High School.
Thank you. Young man in blue, come on down.
Hello, school district. My name is Bradley Pickwoad, P-I-C-K-W-O-A-D for the last name. I am here as to speak on behalf of the youth that will be most affected by the naming of this school. And I think that this school should be named Parish High School. The name Parish suggests both the good and the bad history of Parish. And I think if you decide to withdraw all of the history of this small town, you sort of forget why slavery was so bad in the first place. That's what I would like to address on the issue of slavery. Secondly, I think the name Parish High School will help promote growth in the area, which benefits all, and I think that name would also allow these people to keep their pride in their home and to, again, be able to say something to their community. Thirdly, I also believe that the people who are going to be most affected by this high school and this administration of this high school should be the ones to have the most say in naming this high school. The issue was brought up that the high school should be named after North River. That way it represents all of Manatee County. But I think that, Palmetto High School was named after Palmetto. If you want to, name it after all of Manatee County, why not name Palmetto High School something else? So I think Parish High School and all the people that live in Parish should be able to name their high school after their hometown. Then I also think the acronym is simply not an issue because I think Parish Community High School solves that problem by putting PCHS into the acronym. So I believe that does not cause an issue, and so I believe that the new high school should be called Parish High School. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on down.
Name is Ken Terry, T-E-R-R-Y. 2 years now in Parish, of the city, of the town. Being from New England, our schools run neck and neck. Next town, sometimes the high schools are built just across the border because we're all so close together up there. One of the things I think you're getting tied up with is this PHS. PHS is nothing to us up there. Everything is, we're playing the fighting innings, we're playing the fighting tigers, we're playing whatever the mascot is. And I hope we have a great mascot here in Parish. I look to what you people are doing to our county here, and not our county, but in the parish area, the building that's going on. I see another town coming here, and it's going to be the city of Parish. And I think you people should name the school after the town that's named Parish. Thank you.
Last but not least.
Hi. Hi, my name is Brian Coles, C-O-L-E-S. And no one has to worry, I'm not going to corner anyone and talk about lacrosse should be at the new high school, like I usually do at these meetings. What I would like to talk about is, number one, I would like to thank each and every one of you. You're like the ref on the field. No matter what call you're going to make somebody unhappy and someone happy. So I want to thank each and every one of you. Would not trade anything to be in those seats right now. It's a tough decision. It's a tough job what you have to do, because you're not going to make everyone happy. I think we all agree slavery was wrong. It's a stain on our history. But I think what we're asking for is it to be named Parish High School, not to reflect a name of an owner or a name of the incorporation, but the name of the community. Because that's what the high school is. It's the support of the community. And that's what we're looking for. It's something to get around, something to go on Friday nights to those football games as a community. So I wish, as you sit there and consider everything tonight, please keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe that concludes public comment.
Vice Chair Messenger, thank you for a wonderful job of introducing all the people who came here tonight to speak. Now, Mr. Barber, where's Mike? I'm looking. I'm going to ask Mr. Barber if you could read out to the board and to those gathered here tonight the names of persons, or the names for the new or renaming names, for the high school that the district received, and the number of occasions that the district received the particular name.
Okay. I have a presentation, and we can just go right to the end of that if you'd like. We have a PowerPoint, but
Okay. Whatever works best. I think it's important that all those gathered here, as well as the board, to be aware of the nominations that were sent by mail or by phone or as advertised.
Yeah. I'm just going to run through this real quick, and then we'll get to that portion of it. But by the way, this is Linda Lambert. She's our communications and public records associate, and she has really pulled together all the names that have been nominated. But,
thank you so much. Thank you, Linda.
Okay, the policy, this is the policy that directed the renaming process. The main point is that if you're going to rename a school, it takes 6 months of deliberation, discussion, debate prior to taking action. You all started the process during a workshop held on Tuesday, August 21st, 2018. We're at the end of the 6 months for that. We advertised for it. We put out press releases to start drawing names. We posted it on our school district website, on all of our social media sites, and we had a town hall meeting at Buffalo Creek Middle School on October 24th to discuss the renaming process and to collect name nominations. We accepted name nominations by email, by mail. People could deliver it to the school support center, and as I said, we received name nominations at the town hall meeting at Buffalo Creek Middle School. In addition, we've had school board members sending us nominations that they had received. This is the list of names as of today. We had 40 total names submitted. You see the numbers here. Did you, Mr. Minor or Chairman Minor, did you say you wanted me to read the names, or?
Yeah, would you read the names and the
Okay.
number of times that
Yeah.
their name was sort of endorsed or made?
Okay. Here are the names, and we've had some updates since we've been here this evening, but the first one is Ada C. Bilbrey, and that was 1 vote. Carl Weeks, 2 votes. Charlie Kennedy, 1 vote. Charlie Kennedy Magnet, 1 vote. Cooper Matthew Corley, 1 vote. Crawford, 1 vote. Crawford P. Parrish, 1 vote. David Bailey, 1 vote. Donald John Trump, 1 vote. Erie, 1 vote. Fort Hamer, 6 votes. Fort Hamer Hood, 1 vote. Lake Parish, 1 vote. Luis Agassiz, 1 vote. Mike Barber, 1 vote. Minor, 1 vote. Neil A. Armstrong, 1 vote. Northeast, 1 vote. North Palmetto, 2 votes. North Parish, 3 votes. North River, 97 votes. North River, 1 vote.
Northern River.
Yeah. Oak Hill, 1 vote. Parish Central, 2 votes. Parish Community, 15 votes. Parish High School, 3,117 votes, including petitions. Parish North River, 4 votes. Parish Regional, 1 vote. Parish River, 2 votes. Parish Senior, 7 votes. Parish View, 1 vote. Parish Village, 6 votes. Parish West, 1 vote. Pat Mullins, 3 votes. Raymond F. Lee, 1 vote. Riverside, 1 vote. Schooley McSchoolface, 2 votes. Tammy Hooper, 1 vote. Thomas Jefferson, 1 vote. And Wesley C. Choate, 1 vote.
Thank you.
Anything?
Thank you for an excellent job, Mr. Barber and Linda. And thank you, community, for responding to the request for suggestions to this board in addressing this issue. Madam Vice Chair, I think we have completed the session of public comments concerning this issue, have we not? Okay. Okay, we're going to close the public hearing, and the next thing on our agenda is renaming of the North River High School. And at this time, I'm going to ask the board if there's anyone who has a motion to make with respect to the renaming of the high school. And I'm going to use my discretion. Since this high school is going to be located in the residential area of Vice Chair Messenger, I'm going to allow her the opportunity to make a motion at this time if she has such. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Absolutely. I think as a lot of people have said tonight, this is about community. And with that, I believe this board should support Parish Community High School. So I'd like to make a motion to rename North River High School to Parish Community High School.
Okay, the chair has heard a motion made by Vice Chair Messenger to rename the high school the Parish Community High School. And I also heard from board member Golden a second to that motion to rename the high school the Parish Community High School. Is there discussion? The chair recognizes Mr. Kennedy for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a couple thoughts. I'll start with the end, and I don't support the name Parish Community High School, so I'm a no vote on this motion, but I just want to share a few thoughts, and then maybe I'm not on the prevailing side here, and if Parish Community prevails, that's great, but I just want to share a few things before we hear from my board colleagues. First, many of you were in the room 6 months ago, and I think this is another great example of what happens when you have great differences of opinion and the people with those great differences of opinion come together to hash out those differences. Because I think most of you in this room would agree with me that the mood tonight is a lot different than it was 6 months ago. And that's because we as a community, we as a county had time to come together, talk about our differences, talk about our differences of opinion. And the fact that we have to hold this meeting here tonight is a great thing, because our job as board members, as elected officials, is to listen to our constituents, to listen to our communities that we represent, and take everything into account. But then in the end of the day, we have to make the decision, and then we have to live with it. There were a lot of good points made tonight. There was also some red herrings, I think, tonight. I don't need to go into details, but I just want to focus down on the ones that speak the most to me. And the reason I don't support Parish Community High School, I support another name that has Parish in it, but this school is going to draw from a very large area. And so I am sensitive. As Mr. Jones said, the 800-pound elephant in the room here is growth. And that is what's driving a lot of conflict, not just in the school district, but in our community in general. And what speaks to me the most is that this school is going to draw from a large area. And there's going to be a lot of kids that don't live in Parish that go to this school. And I want this school to have a name that can represent the community and the place and the identity of Parish, but also be inclusive of those students who attend the school who are not from Parish. So if I get a chance to make my motion later, I will. Maybe this motion's going to pass and we're going to move on. And like I said last week, we're going to make a decision, and then this board will move together, united behind the decision that we made. So I'm a no on Parish Community, but I'm interested to hear what my board colleagues think as well.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you, Mr. Kennedy. I apologize. The privilege of first talking about something should be the person who made the motion, and I'm going to call on Vice Chair Messenger to forgive me and Mr. Kennedy, but if she has some comments to make with respect to her motion, the chair is going to recognize her at this time. Thank you.
Oh, it's fine. Actually gives me an opportunity to rebut Mr. Kennedy, so
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Well, you can thank me for that.
I want to speak to some of the things that you just said. You say that there will be students that attend the school that don't live in Parish, and I agree that that's true, but this is the same argument that I think was made before. And I said, well, there were people that went to Palmetto that didn't live in Palmetto. In fact, all the people that lived in Parish all went to Palmetto. So it might have been called Palmetto, but lots of other people went there. This is really about the location and the town. And I think that was made pretty clear tonight, that this town just wants to feel like their name is in the title. And I hear that you're saying you got another option. I'm always open to hearing other options. But for me, this is about the community, this is about the town, and that is why I believe Parish should be in the title. Like I said, I'm open to other options. But I think it's important that it has Parish. I think it's important that it starts with the word Parish.
Noted.
I know how you do your thing. So, and I also noticed that Kennedy is on here twice, so I just don't know if you're going to try and work that in there.
That is not my
Kennedy,
motion, no.
Parish, I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me.
It's not.
Yeah,
I promise
well, we'll see. I want to go back to maybe like even talking about the zoning. When we did the zoning for this school, we were careful in that we kept communities together. The lines were drawn to keep Palmetto together because we believe in community. And the lines were drawn to keep the Parish area together because we believe in community. And there were even communities that were taken out because the people that believed in that believed in community. So all I'm saying is, this is about a community. And that's why I believe Parish Community is a great name for the school. So thanks for the opportunity to rebut Mr. Kennedy. I appreciate that.
Okay, well, thank you, Vice Chair Messenger.
I'm sorry.
Any other comments? Okay, I'm not saying, I'll just say that again, I thank everybody for coming, and I think that Mrs. Messenger's made a good argument. I think the idea of having community in there maybe softens the idea, which I don't ascribe to, that this is in any way, supporting a slave owner or a former slave owner. I am very impressed by the sense of community that I see in Parrish, and the sense of community that's expressed here tonight. And I can't think of a better name for this school than Parrish Community, as moved by Mrs. Messenger and seconded by Board Member Golden. And so I'm not hearing any further. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to call on Board Member Golden for his comments, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Of all of the things that I heard tonight, the thing that moved me most was the little boy that came down and courageously reminded us that history hurts. And if for no other reason, Parrish ought to be in the name. But it's not about somebody's granddaddy or somebody's great-granddaddy. This is about history, which was bigger than the granddaddy even when he was alive. And it's also about the history of the people who were hurt and whose great-grandchildren sit right here in our midst. Son, thank you for reminding us of the one thing that only matters, that really matters, our history. Because if you don't remember your history, you'll repeat it.
Okay.
But I also want to thank all of the rest of you who have come. I kept a tally. I guess it's almost right. The two words that I heard most frequently tonight, the two words that I heard that mattered the most to the most of the people were parish, blood, a bond, where you moved here, grew up here. I did hear parish. But the next word that I heard more than anything was community. I didn't hear central, and I didn't hear regional. I didn't hear any of that. I just heard community. And for those two reasons alone, I've got a lot more, but that's enough for me to be supportive of the historical name, parish, and the aspirational name, community. And I thank you, son, again, for just bringing that out to our attention.
Okay. Thank you, Board Member Golden. Okay, please, the chair recognizes, Board Member Hopes. We're not going to have any. Okay. We're not gonna
Thank
have
you.
any.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Hopes.
I really want to commend the community because this was a long process. We've had healthy debate. We've come together, and I think I've been consistent since I was appointed on the board and then during the election that I really want to see our schools as the center of our communities. However we define those communities. And the name of a school does mean something. And the mere fact that everyone's put the effort into actually creating a stronger sense of community, even though there'll probably be a rivalry with Palmetto High School, and the acronym, I think we can work through an acronym. I mean, I was thinking into my mind, you have Palmetto Charter School, which is now pretty much K through 8. What if they have a high school? It's going to be Palmetto Charter High School. It's going to be the same acronym as Parish Community High School. With regards to the history, the history of this country is the history of this country. We're not going to change it through changing the name of a school. It's a history that we have to live with. It's a history that we need to ensure that we teach our children, because it is our nation's history. We went through this. You know, the high school I went to in Houston before I came to Florida to finish high school was Robert E. Lee. We were the Robert E. Lee Generals. And guess what kind of uniform the general had sitting on top of that horse? That's our history. That's part of who we are. And our youth need to learn from it. What I heard was a lot about parish, and parish in the name, parish being first in the name. I too like the fact that you know, you want community in the name. I want this $90 million plus investment to be the center of the larger community it serves. It is going to be north of the river. Palmetto's north of the river. Ellenton's north of the river. You know, I was hoping we would have some debate in how we can try to incorporate as much of parish into the name, North River into the name. If you look at the responses, parish was definitely number one. You guys did a great job, and you've embraced all of us in the process. We did name the school North River High School. It is in North River. So I don't know where Mr. Kennedy was going with it. We can't have a name too long. I really like parish community. I mean, I like the sense of community. The majority of the students going there initially are not going to be from parish. Parish is going to grow. And I think it's important that we establish parish in the community so that it cannot be enveloped by the growth we're going to be exposed to. Because there is a storied history. There is a lengthy history. There are great pioneers that settled that area, that farmed that area. And no new development should cause that to disappear in history, because it's this region's history. And there are so many parts of Florida that don't have that richness of history. I would like to figure out how we can have parish community in there, how somehow we express that it's in the North River area, whether that's Parish Community High School, North River underneath it in smaller letters. I kind of hate that we're having this discussion about one or the other, and I was hoping that we would have enough debate for how we could recognize the greater region, but keep parish central to the name of the high school, and ensure that we teach our children the history of the community of parish, the history of the village of parish, the rich history, and the not so favorable, history. But, I got to admit, the time that it was settled, it was in the later 1800s. It really was. And I would hate to think that my legacy somehow is going to be defined by my great-great-grandfather, and whether or not he paid people an honorable wage to go in the coal mines of Pennsylvania in the early 1800s. I don't think so. I think I'm going to be known for who I am, well, depending on how the outcome of this vote goes. But at any rate, Mr. Chair, I would like to hear Mr. Kennedy's comments before we make a very important decision that we've been debating for a couple of years almost. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Hopes. Okay. Is there any further discussion on the motion that by the Vice Chair and seconded by Board Member Golden to approve the renaming of this high school, the Parish Community High School?
Mr. Chair.
Okay, Mr. Kennedy is recognized by the Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Minor, my thought, this is kind of a funny fit. I don't know how Robert's Rules of Order we handle this, because I certainly don't want to make a motion to amend, but I do want to put this out for thought and discussion. And I tried this 6 months ago. It didn't work. I almost got booed out of the room. But like I said, we're in a different place now than we were 6 months ago. So the name that I was going to suggest for consideration is North River Parish High School. Had a feeling I would get that reaction, but we have heard from everybody. We have taken everything into consideration for months. And what I'm trying to do is find a balance between preserving the legacy of Parish. That's okay, it's my turn now. Hang on.
Okay.
Preserve the legacy of Parish and also address the regional aspect of the school. You may not like it, that's fine. You certainly have an avenue to take it out on me, and I would welcome you to do that, but my suggestion is North River Parish.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Sorry, Mr. Meyer, I was just going to say, I just feel like it's the best way to bring all these differing factions together. You may disagree.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Hearing no further discussion, the chair calls for a vote, and will the clerk do a roll call vote for us, please? Okay, I think the clerk called Mr. Hopes. How did Mr. I could not hear him. Okay, Mr. Hopes, you have to vote at some point.
I understand that. I didn't know we were going to do a roll call vote. We can't do the machines?
I'm not sure. I'm going to ask for your legal. I think that can the chair just call for a roll call vote? I'm asking Mr. Dye. I think that's proper. Okay.
Mr. Chair, are you addressing me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, you can call for a roll call vote.
Okay. Well, I'll call for a roll call vote. And Mr. Hopes, I was calling on you to cast a vote. It's just yes or no.
I understand, Mr. Chair. I thought after a lengthy process we would have had more debate, but I see the writing on the wall. I would have liked to have seen Parish and North River in the name.
Okay.
And I realize that there are 3 votes there, and there are times that you vote for unity. I would have liked to have seen Parish North River High School. But that being said, I want to put this issue behind us. We've made a lot of good friends. I will vote for Parish Community High School, and I vote yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hopes. Okay, will the clerk call the next person?
Yes.
I'm still a no.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. The motion passes 4-1, and the board is or the chair is calling for a 10-minute recess. Those who are only here for that particular item of business, you're free to leave, you're free to stay, but we're going to be recessed for 10 minutes. Okay, we're going to bring this meeting to order, please. And I hope that if anyone sees Mr. Hopes, we have exciting things coming up like approval of minutes and other things that I don't think you'd want to miss. Does anybody see him out there? We do have some important matters before us. And we're 15 minutes into a 10-minute recess, so I think it's proper to bring this matter to order. Okay. The next matter on our agenda is approval of the minutes. Now, I'm going to ask the superintendent if she has a recommendation. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to stand corrected. It is time for us to have our wonderful Vice Chair, Gina Messinger, lead us in public comments. Are there further public comments to be heard this evening?
There are 3 people signed up. I've already read the rules. The first one is Mr. Gibellina. I'm not sure he's still here. The next one was Tony Sasulo, who just came up to me and told me he wasn't going to speak. And I don't see Mr. And the third one is Stan Skurloff. And I know he spoke at the hearing, but I don't know if he had something else he wanted to say. Oh, here's Mr. Gibellina. Come on down, Mr. Gibellina. Okay.
My name is Glenn Gibellina, community activist, and great choice on the name. Thank you so much. I did think Schoolie McDooley was a close second, though. All right, so future agenda items is that what I'd like to talk about. I sent you all an email today on the cell phones. I'm going to be like a broken record up here about the cell phones in our schools. All I'm asking is to do a pilot program at one school. That's all. That's not too much to ask. So the Yoder, which is a magnetic pouch that the students put their phones in when they come to school, and they keep their phones in their backpacks, so they're always in possession of it. And then when they leave school, they pass it over the magnet, the pouch opens up, they put the pouch in a recyclable box, and they walk out of the school with their phone intact. So I got to tell you, as I talk to more and more teachers, and I see the disruption that these cell phones do, there's a time and place for them in our education system. I haven't seen it yet. We have professional teachers that are spending between 20 and 35% of their time telling the kids to shut off their electronic devices. Put your cell phones away. As a taxpayer, that's a waste of my money when we reduce professional teachers to glorified babysitters. That's not their job. And if their parents can't discipline their kids, it's not the teacher's responsibility to discipline them for them. So I would strongly suggest that you try this, and I would really like to see it at Bayshore High School personally, but you need to go down and start talking to some teachers. Maybe they're too afraid to say anything. I am not. I think this is a good pilot program. It's in over 1,000 schools successfully across this country, and most of them are entitled Title I schools. Cell phones are not an educational tool in this parent's opinion. So I think we can do a better job. I think you need to take a stand on it. Probably too late for this year, but I would certainly gear up for next year for at least one school. I think it's a great opportunity to see if there is a difference. I could be wrong. I don't think so, but I'd be willing to stake my reputation that this program will work in the high schools. So just please consider it. Try one high school, and I'll be back. Thank you.
Okay. Stan Skurloff. Okay. Lawrence Newman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, and Superintendent. We've heard much today about the importance of history and slavery, and I'm here to speak about a different type of history and slavery, and that's the importance of Holocaust education for all of our students. As we all know, it's part of the required instruction mandated by the legislature. The legislature has also recognized the richness of Jewish history in Florida, also recognizing Jewish History Month in the statute. And I've prepared a handout. I hope you've all received it, or you will. Holocaust education is universal. It teaches us many things. As set forth in the statute, we are to teach the history of the Holocaust in a manner that leads to an investigation of human behavior, an understanding of the ramifications of prejudice, racism, and stereotyping, and also an examination of what it means to be a responsible and respectful person. The statute also mandates that Holocaust education is to be taught both efficiently and faithfully. And although it is a mandate, unfortunately, in many of the schools it's not taught at all, or it's given only a cursory go-over, where they teach something that's very limited, like the Diary of Anne Frank, rather than a full and complete history of the Holocaust as it applies to all students. We see that the state has recognized Jewish history in various ways. For example, in your handout, you see St. John's County, Florida, a proclamation recognizing Jewish Heritage Month, a Florida Senate resolution recognizing Jewish Heritage Week, as well as Jewish heritage being celebrated in various histories of Florida, which is here in your handout, which I'll quote from. Jewish developers planted citrus groves and opened new residential districts. Jules and Jack Freeman came to Sarasota in 1953 and began planting citrus. From 1968 to 1971, they planted the world's largest orange grove, which is 3 times the size of Manhattan, New York City, and has over 3 million citrus trees. National Geographic magazine published an aerial photo of the 27,000 acres and commented, "The grove was one of the distinguishing landmarks in Florida, visible from space." If you look at the last page of the handout, you see how Holocaust education fits within the interdisciplinary curriculums that already exist within the schools. Language arts, read aloud, illustrated books and guides, building, reading, and writing skills, videos of Holocaust survivors speaking in local schools. It covers social studies, historical texts, geography of the world, human behavior extremes of cruelty and goodness, science, scientific facts of the Holocaust, mathematics of the Holocaust.
I was gonna say, I didn't hear it ding, I'm sorry. It's on 0.
I'm sorry. Can I continue?
No, I'm sorry, you have 3
Okay,
minutes.
well, once again, please, I encourage everybody to make sure that Holocaust
Thank you.
education is part of the daily curriculum.
Thank you. I apologize, I didn't hear it. What? Oh, okay. And I believe that concludes public comment.
Okay, well, thank you, Vice Chair Messenger. Now, we get on to one of the more exciting moments of the evening, approval of the minutes. And I'm going to ask the superintendent if the superintendent has a recommendation concerning minutes of prior meetings.
Yes, I recommend the approval of the minutes from February 12th, 2019 school board workshop and regular meeting.
Okay, there's a motion by Mr. Kennedy, and it's seconded by Vice Chair Messenger to approve the superintendent's motion. Is there any discussion? The chair hearing none, the chair will call the question. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. and opposed, nay, and register your votes. I'm not quite sure how we do that here. I guess,
You push the button.
okay, we got a button. This is a whole new experience for me, and I think the others here. Okay, I think we're all voted. All right, it passes unanimously, 5-0. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda, and the chair is going to ask the superintendent if the superintendent has a recommendation concerning the consent agenda.
Yes, I recommend the approval of the consent agenda for February 26, 2019.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Board Member Kennedy and seconded by Vice Chair Messenger to approve the superintendent's recommendation that we approve the consent agenda. Is there discussion? The chair hearing none, the chair will call the question, and all those in favor register by voting yes and indicate by saying aye. Aye. Okay. The motion is approved unanimously, 5-0. The next item of business is new business non-consent items. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's where we are.
Old business.
How about old business? Okay. Consideration of the school board no longer offering interim contracts at the superintendent level. I'm going to ask if the board attorney, Mr. Dye, could share some comments concerning this item of interest.
Mr. Chair, thank you, board members. As I recall how this item came up at one of your earlier meetings, the discussion was whether the label interim attached to superintendent was appropriate. And I think the discussion arose out of the recent consideration of Mrs. Saunders' contract. My view, and I think it's shared by many attorneys who do school board work in the state, is that there really isn't a such thing as an interim superintendent. The duties and obligations, responsibilities of the superintendent are set by statute and also local policy. And nowhere in any of that body of law does it say that there is an interim superintendent. I think the determination of interim as far as the duration of time is set by the contract that you enter into with whoever's holding the superintendent's office at the time. It could be a one-year contract, a three-year contract, or a at-will contract. And under those parameters, under those guidelines, and I guess in one sense that everybody has an interim position, but the title itself doesn't include the word interim. It's as long as you hire somebody as a superintendent, then that person has the rights and duties and obligations and responsibility of superintendent as set out by, like I say, statute and local policy.
Thank you. Now, I believe it was Board Member Golden who asked us to take a closer look at the use of the term interim. And I'm going to ask Board Member Golden if he has some further questions or comments that he'd like to pose to the board council or just lay out of issues of concern that he has concerning this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Attorney Dye, what was the nature of the contract that was offered to Mrs. Saunders in June of last year?
The nature of the contract, sir?
Yes, sir.
It was a contract to perform the duties of the superintendent of schools in Manatee County.
Okay, was that the title of the contract?
I don't recall the title of it,
The
but
title
that
of
was
the
basically
contract was an interim contract.
It was the gist of it, and it was for a duration of time. I'm trying to remember exactly, but I think it was about a year. Yeah.
It stretched from June until June.
Yes, sir.
And it requested that she serve as interim superintendent. Those are the words in there.
It used the phrase interim. Yes. Yes.
Okay. whatever that is, caused us a lot of heartache, and a lot of pain, and a lot of problems. So what I'm trying to address, whether that comes from you or whether that comes from board policy, that we don't use that term anymore describing any of our superintendents. Now, whether that's statutory or not, I don't know, but I want it to be a part of our policy that whatever contracts that are drafted, don't do that to us anymore or to this community. So what would you suggest?
Reverend Golden, when the board was considering that contract, I advised against using the word interim.
Okay.
But I only advise.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a vote on the board, so.
That's fine. So then my motion, Mr. Chair, because I brought this up, is that we no longer offer contracts to superintendent candidates that contain the word interim. Period.
Okay, I think that your motion is
I'll second that motion.
moved and seconded. Now, I'm going to, ask board counsel about this, that I think I will repeat what I understand the motion that has been moved and seconded, which is that from here on until changed, of course, the board shall not make any contracts that contain the word interim. Am I understanding the motion correctly, Board Member Golden?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Chair,
At the superintendent level.
at the superintendent level.
Okay, at the
yeah.
superintendent level, okay.
At the superintendent.
Now, I'm looking at the, how it's labeled in our agenda, which says, consideration of the school board no longer offering interim contracts at the superintendent level. Now, I'm inclined to think that this sufficient notice to the public that this kind of motion's brought up, but I'm going to ask for board counsel, view on this. Is this something that we can go forward with? It's not under new business, it's under old business that we pass a resolution that's in the form of a motion that we are not going to, that the board shall not make any contracts that can, for superintendent services that contain the word interim.
Mr. Chair, as far as notice, I don't think it's necessary because you're really passing a motion to bind yourselves to future action. More traditionally, the board would come to a conclusion that something needs to change as far as how it conducts its business and passes a policy that it writes into its policy manual. A motion holds you to it as long as you agree to be held to it. If you want to make it a little bit more permanent, with a little bit more weight behind it, then the appropriate way to do it is to write it into the policy manual.
Okay, but we can pass that motion tonight, is that correct?
You could pass a motion to begin the policy-making process.
Well, we're just talking about a motion. We have a motion on the floor, which the chair is inclined, I'm not ruling at this point, but I believe that the motion that has been made by Board Member Golden and seconded by Board Member Hopes is a proper motion. And I'm not hearing any words that it's improper, and I'm going to say, okay, is there any further discussion of the board concerning this motion? And I'm going to call upon Vice Chair Messenger at this time, because I think she wishes to comment. Didn't I? Maybe not? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, yes, okay. Thank you, you're recognized.
I believe that if this is something the board truly wishes to do, that perhaps we should have a conversation about a policy in a workshop rather than doing it this way. I don't necessarily believe that making such a rule, which could hinder future boards when it's just a parsing of words, is necessarily beneficial to this board. So I am not in favor of this motion tonight, but I would be open to having more conversations, perhaps during a workshop, where we could look at our policy. And if we want to create a new policy, and really discuss the merits of that. But I am not in favor of this at this time.
Okay, thank you. Vice Chair Messenger. Are there any other comments, discussion, and any board members would like to make concerning this motion that's been moved and seconded?
Yes,
Okay,
Mr. Chair.
the chair recognizes Board Member Golden.
Yes. What brought us to this point was that we were in a workshop discussing the superintendent's contract. And at that time, the recommendation was made to put it on the agenda.
Right.
To bring it forth, to have a vote.
Right.
The summary of this consideration of the school board no longer offering interim contracts at the superintendent level says, and I quote, during the February 12th school board meeting, Board Member Golden made a motion that as a matter of policy, the Manatee County School Board should no longer offer interim contracts at the superintendent level. Chair Minor stated that the motion was not on the February 12, 2019 agenda and noted he would add it to the February 26, 2019 agenda for consideration. And that's all that I'm seeking. If it passes, it passes. If it doesn't, but to push it off to have another discussion at another point in time, I'm just not quite so sure I see the value in that, other than it keeps us stewing around over the issue of what kind of contracts we're going to offer our superintendent or the next superintendent or even this superintendent when this contract expires. Now, at some point, there ought to be a lesson learned. We ought to have had enough of dealing with interim contracts.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other, Mr. Kennedy, the chair recognizes Mr. Kennedy for discussion.
Thank you. I will keep this short because I mostly agree with Gina that we have a superintendent through 2021 under contract. And I also feel I'm reluctant to tie the hands of future boards. Reverend Golden, I see where you're coming from, and I believe that by statute, there's no such thing as an interim, but for all intents and purposes, last summer, I agree with you, we created some dissension when we didn't have to. But we're past that now, and Superintendent Saunders is with us through 2021. And again, in 2020, this board is going to change, and I'm just reluctant to codify, policies like that for future boards. It's like I said, I don't think this is a pressing issue. Therefore, I'm going to vote against it.
Okay. Are there any further comments, discussion? Okay. The board recognizes Vice Chair Messenger.
I just wanted to reiterate, it is stated that this is a matter of policy. And the way we normally handle policy is, it is discussed in our workshop. It is brought forth in a public hearing so that the community is aware of the policy that's going to be created. And then we vote it up or down. And that is my only point here. That is how our policy making has worked, so that there is as much community involvement and it is clearly written into policy.
Thank you, Vice Chair Messenger. Okay, this is how I perceive it. I basically agree with everybody here. And that sounds like I'm mimicking our vice chair in that wisdom. But, you know, she's absolutely correct. But this motion doesn't change the policy because it's not in our policy. Interim is not in our policy. When we use the word interim in those contracts, it would be the same contract as far as binding if the word interim was not there. And I think, you know, part of the idea behind this motion is it detracts from the majesty or of the contract just to call the superintendent interim. And I think that's a good reason for saying, let's not use that word anymore. We'll have a contract, it may be for a limited period of time, shorter than traditionally, you know, superintendents, but we don't have to use that. And I think, you know, the motion has good reason, you know, is motivated, you know, for good reasons. Why have it in there? If you're going to have a short-term contract, just have a short-term contract and don't be calling the person that you're hiring to perform superintendent duties an interim. They're a contract. They are a superintendent. Now, that's how I interpret the value of this motion. And for that reason, I support the motion. Now, that being said, we are not tying the hands of, you know, future boards from doing something which I don't think is a good idea, and I think everybody here agrees. You know, why call them interim? It sounds kind of second class. And that's kind of a matter of drafting. But I support the motion that we no longer have contracts that talk in terms of there being an interim contract. That, you know, there's lots of ways the boards could get around it and say, well, it's a temporary or what. But I don't think the words temporary or interim should be in that, and that's why I intend to vote yes for whatever it's worth, and hope that the wisdom of the vote will be remembered into the future. But it's not something that I think requires, needs, or should have the expense of some kind of policy hearing. Okay, if there's no further discussions, I'm going to call the question, and all those in favor of Board Member Golden's motion that was seconded by, oh, I'm sorry, I see that Vice Chair Messenger has some, no.
No, I was just
Oh,
wondering.
okay, I'm sorry. I didn't want to rush it, but all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes and register your vote. I'm voting yes. Yes. Okay. I think there are 3 yeses and 2 noes. Okay, so the motion carries 3-2. All right, and thank you, Representative Board Member Golden, for bringing this to our attention. Okay, the next thing is new business, non-consent items. Does the superintendent have a recommendation?
Yes, I recommend the approval to ratify the contract agreement with the school district of Manatee County and the municipal employees, Local 1584 of the American Federation to State, County, and Municipal Employees, ASME.
Is there a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Board Member Kennedy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Messenger. Okay, is there any discussion? The chair hearing no discussion. The chair will just say, I think this is a wonderful thing, and it really speaks highly of this school district, of this board, of our superintendent, that we have reached agreements with ASCME, as we had reached with the teachers union. It's not true in all school districts, even those adjoining us. I think this community can take pride in how this district is moving forward with everything. And I enthusiastically, vote yes on this, or I'm calling for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by, did Mr. Kennedy, did you have some comments you were going to say? Or?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I just want to thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to thank everybody involved here. This is always an arduous process. I hate it when I've said this before, but I hate it when this gets looked at as a management versus labor issue, because we are all in this together, and it's just a matter of how do we come up with the most, financially stable and equitable situation for everybody in the district. I do have one request, and I don't know if the board would kind of support this as an ask, or not a motion per se, but just a goal to shoot for, is that here we are in February, and the same goes true for the MEA contract that we approved last meeting. But here we are in February approving contracts retroactive to last July 1. And, I think we all hear from, as board members, we all hear from school staff and, why are we waiting so long? And so I would make the request where we can, and I will make the same request of Pat and Deanne, I see you over there, that as soon as we have the numbers from Tallahassee on what we're working with, that we do everything we can to get started right away. So we are doing this at the end of the summer. We are doing this in August or early September instead of July of the following year. So again, not a motion, just
okay.
An ask of the board for
Thank
support.
you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay. Hearing none, the chair calls the question. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye and cast your vote here.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. It passes 5-0. Congratulations, everybody here. The next item of new business is approval of salary increase for supervisor, administrative, managerial, and professional, that is SAMP, and hourly non-bargaining employees in the approximate total cost of $1,354,042. Does the superintendent have a recommendation?
Yes, I recommend the approval of salary increase for supervisory, administrative, managerial, and professional, which is SAMP, and hourly non-bargaining employees in the approximate total cost of $1,354,042.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Is there a motion to
So
approve?
moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Board Member Hopes and seconded by Board Member Golden. Is there discussion? I think we've had discussion already. But go ahead, Mr. Kennedy. Thank you.
Yeah, different
matter, though.
Different motion, different
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah.
I just want to kind of ask the superintendent 2 points, and I apologize that I didn't get a chance to ask you this before the meeting, but I know you will be ready with the answer. My first kind of lookout for this is with the referendum funding. There are some SAMP employees who work directly with students and are affected by the referendum pay. Is that part of what is spelled out here, or is that spelled out in the language of this agreement, or is it separate?
Yes, this includes everyone. So if you're SAMP and you do work and you're getting your raise as well as in this. The millage is a completely separate piece.
Okay.
So everyone is getting compensation now. This with the ASME and MEA covers all employees.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of my feeling, is that referendum funds are a separate bucket, as we like to say. So that was basically my question. Is any language about the referendum funds within this contract as well? And the answer is no. Okay.
Absolutely not.
Mr. Minor, if I may, I've got one more question.
Sure, go ahead.
The board work mentions that for effective, quote unquote, effective principals by their evaluation, their raise is 1.8%, and then for highly effective, it will be 2.4%. I guess I first have a question. Is any part of the assistant principal or principal evaluation, for a teacher, their test scores are part of the formula that makes up their evaluation score. Is the same true for a principal or AP?
Yes.
So their school grade?
Yes. They receive a VAM score as well, and it makes up part of their evaluation. In 2014, they were also placed on performance pay, so that's why you have the differentiation between the two. So yes, their scores are made up of the whole school.
Okay. And then do other, I mean, this doesn't matter, and this is, I am frustrated by the school grade system and how we tie people's pay to the school grade system, but that's a much longer conversation for another time. But does that affect other SAMP groups, that effective arrays being contingent on an effective or highly effective, or does that only apply to APs and principals?
It only applies to those that were required to have performance pay with a VAM score tied to them. So any instructional position, if you're at a school, or even district office, if you're instructional, SAMP, that have a growth or value added model added to them, it is applied. And statute's pretty clear about that. So if you work at a school, if you're an administrator, you will have that performance pay, and salary is based on that evaluation.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any other board comment? Then the chair hearing none, I'll call the question. For all those in favor, please signify by saying aye and register your vote.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. And it passes 5-0. And thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is requests, regular meeting requests and workshop items. Does anyone have any requests at this time?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you, sir. I would like to request, this is, well, I have two, and I think they're both repeats. And number one is Reverend Golden's request regarding the Just for Girls conversation. Do we have a plan to bring that forward, Mr. Chair?
Not at this time.
Not at this time. Okay. May I ask what we're waiting on?
Well, I think that
we have a recommendation from our Financial Advisory Committee.
Okay. We're waiting for an appropriate time. We'd like to have some answer about why they haven't sought, charter status where they would be entitled to share in the funds from the charter schools.
That could be a year or 2 year long process. I think I agree with Reverend Golden that we have discussed this so much. I think it's time we have an up or down vote on it. It's just my opinion. But that would be my request for a future agenda item. The other one I have, and I believe this is a duplicate as well, is the nomination of Cindy Spray to the Financial Advisory Committee. She has emailed us a few times, and her nomination is still kind of sitting out there. So I'd like to see that nomination on a future agenda.
I have personally communicated with her, and today by letter I spoke with her tonight. I think that the appropriate time for considering new members is when we give a notice to the public that we are seeking to have replacements or new people on there, so the whole community has the opportunity. I told her I thought that this would probably be sometime not before June, when we will find out who might be rotating off the Finance Committee, or who would no longer be on there.
Do you know how many members that
I
were
don't know.
1 year term?
I don't know at this time, but I'm just giving you a report of my communications with her, and she seemed to indicate that had some sense to it.
Okay, may I?
Okay. Yes.
Thank you. That would, I believe, be a change in protocol. We have kind of added members to that committee on the fly before without opening it to public comment. I don't know about my board colleagues, but I don't have people beating down the door to serve on the committee. And I think when we have a citizen who steps up to serve on this committee as a volunteer, I think we should address it right away. Again, just my opinion. If board members,
Okay,
if
well, thank you,
anybody has
and
a
well
strong
noted.
feeling, please let us know.
Okay, any other comment, any other suggestion? Okay, Board Member Golden.
I'm not quite so sure in what, I don't think it,
There you go.
there it is. I received a communication that asked where this board stood with respect to the decision to arm teachers. And I don't know whether that was something that was considered before I came on in last November. Yeah, the legislature is considering it now, but I think that the question arises whether or not there's a position that we would have as a board as to whether we want to support that kind of legislation or oppose it. And so I'd like for that to be on an agenda as quickly as possible for consideration.
Okay, so noted. Mr. Kennedy, do you have some comment with respect to Mr. Golden's suggesting we consider the issue of having teachers armed in our schools?
I do. Reverend Golden, we did discuss this as a board last year. We never took any, if memory serves, we never took any official vote or passed any resolution, but it was certainly a question that was asked of us publicly. And if I remember correctly, it seemed to me the general consensus of the board was we don't support it, but I do support your ask, if nothing else, just of a resolution of the school board taking a position in the matter of arming teachers, which unfortunately is back in the debate. So,
okay, Board Member Hopes.
With regards to this issue, I would suggest if this board is going to take up this issue, that we arrange to see the video of the inside of the shooting, and that we also review the experts' report and their recommendations. Because there were many people's minds who were changed on this issue after they saw in video what actually occurred. So that's my only issue, is that if we are going to pass a resolution which may oppose the expert opinions in the legislature, that we take it upon ourselves and stomach it and see the video of what happened inside Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, and then we can make an informed decision. And if we're not willing to see what actually occurred, that the experts viewed, and I think our superintendents in the state viewed, then we should not take up this issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Hopes. Board Member Kennedy.
thank you, Mr. Meyer. Dr. Hopes, I think this is probably not the time to have this debate, nor do I want to, but I just want to be really clear. I don't need to watch gruesome crime scene videos to believe that having teachers fulfill all of the duties they have already and be concerned with the handling of a firearm is a bad idea. This is a very simple thing to me. We should let teachers do the teaching and let guardians do the guarding and let police do the policing. It's unfortunate that that commission became so politicized, and even a sheriff who was on that commission is now advocating, he changed his mind to advocate for teachers being armed when, if I were a police sheriff, which of course I'm not, but if I were, I would be advocating for more money for police officers in schools so they can do the job they already professionally do. So I'd be honest with you, I have no interest in watching any surveillance footage of Douglas High School. There are many lessons have been learned without watching any gruesome videos. And we can have this discussion again, but let's let police do the police work, not teachers who are already overburdened and underpaid. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Are there any other comments with respect to that request? Okay, the chair hears none. Are there any other requests? Hearing none, we'll go on to legal updates. Mr. Dye.
None for me, Mr. Chairman, but...
Okay, that was very concise. Thank you. Okay. Oh, except from Mr. Dye. Okay, Mr. Titlebaum, do you have some legal updates you'd like to share with us?
Yes, Mr. Board Chair, thank you very much. The Joseph Kinnan case is alive and well. It has stayed dormant for a certain period of time. It's been prosecuted by the Romano Law Firm. The lead attorney left that firm, has returned to the firm. We've had motions based upon complaints dismissed, amended complaints dismissed. Right now, we're on our third motion to dismiss the third amended complaint. There's a motion to compel depositions of Mr. Dye and myself, all pending. Motion got restored, reassigned to countless judges in Sarasota. So at this point in time, for the board update, Kinnan is alive and well. They selected a March 12th date to hear those motions, and as suspected, that hearing date has now been adjourned. So, but it is going to come back at some point in time for another further motion to dismiss. Mr. Mills has separate counsel that he also has a motion to dismiss as well. Just for the board members that were not there at the time, Mr. Mills was part of this litigation. He has private counsel, which the district has agreed to pay for. Troy Pumphrey also has private counsel, which the district is not paying for, and then the district is defending itself. That is the update, and I will keep the board advised. One last update, Sarasota Security Patrol. That was the private contractor that was hired at a time period when private security was put into schools under the Julia Ranabar time period, and Mr. Mills as well. There was a lawsuit based upon the cancellation of their contract. That motion is going to go to a bench trial, not a jury trial, but their attorney, after request to voluntarily dismiss with prejudice, has decided not to. So at this point in time, there'll be a deposition. I will represent the district as a witness for the corporate deposition. And in the meantime, we have a motion for summary judgment thereafter. We are represented by Blaylock Walters on that particular case.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Titlebaum.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Trip down memory lane here. Huh? Okay, thank you for the legal updates, instructional update. Madam Superintendent.
Yes, I have a number of things. First of all, Coach Harder's already told us about our big Final Four game tomorrow night. So those of you that don't have plans, you can journey to Lakeland to support Coach Harder in the last year of his career here. And what a better way to end as he began with a state title. So Willie will be my chauffeur, and we will be journeying there tomorrow afternoon. Also, Thursday evening, we have an ESC agency fair for parents with students of gifted or any other ESC needs. It's a wonderful event, and our director, Nicole Cox, is heading that up. It will be at MTC at 6 p.m. So we encourage families to attend there. It's usually well attended. Also, Saturday morning, 9 a.m., we have Art Slam downtown Bradenton. So it's a good event. The weather's going to be great. Take your families out. Enjoy the wonderful art displays we have of our students in our schools. Saturday evening, 5 to 6, we have our elementary STEAM Awards at the South Florida Museum. So Kimberly Organic, Vicki Williams will be heading that up. So hope to see you there. And if you want to exercise and raise money for scholarships, I will be at the start of our Take Stock with Children 5K race. I'm really doing a mile, but you know, we'll walk and run together. 7:30 a.m. Lakewood Ranch. So that's a wonderful event. It benefits hundreds of our students raising money for scholarships. So I hope to see you there. Reverend Golden said he'll join me in the run.
Did you say what date?
That is Sunday morning. Oh. It's before church, Reverend. You're okay. 7:30. Thank you.
Work. Okay, well, thank you very much, Superintendent Saunders. Gives us something to do. All right, let's see. Operations, Mr. Wagner.
Over here, very good. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 7 items.
Oh, okay, there you go. Thank
First one is risk tools. I want to thank the schools and all the staff. They participated in our malware, the email attachment, and our pushing. Appreciate everybody taking advantage of the training. I want to recognize transportation. So we provide transportation to 16,000 students every day, and starting this week, we actually have a class starting with 4 new drivers going through it. So it's great. We're going to celebrate all of our drivers. We're going to continue the recruiting efforts as well. The personnel department, we have 3 outreach recruitment efforts going on. March 2nd, we're going to Florida Gulf Coast. March 6th, University of South Florida St. Pete. And March 9th, the Florida Fund for Minority Teacher Symposium. So I want to thank all the district staff and the school staff that are participating in our outreach to recruit more teachers and staff here. Number 4, Department of Construction Services, thank you. They actually hosted a team from our carpentry group from MTC to go on site to the Parish Community High School this past week. Everybody who goes to that high school and sees it in person comes back with the same response, how impressed they are with our new high school, truly. What's interesting is that currently we have 1.3 million square feet under construction, and we host over 3,000 employees every day working in building our new facilities, working here in Manatee County. Number 5, I want to congratulate the F1 in Schools team. So they just returned from the national championship in Texas. So our team, which is made up of Southeast High School and Palmetto High School, they won 9 of the 11 events that took place there. So they were the most winningest team, which puts them in first place. And Brian Kenzier and Margie Nanny are the 2 advisors who oversee that team, and they'll be going to Worlds, like we did last year, which is not until November of next year, but they've earned the right to attend Worlds, which is a big deal. Number 6, WebNet. So we all use WebNet here in our school system, and WebNet, if you recall, is a single sign-on, so you can access all the applications. So we upgraded to the newest version to allow the new parent portal feature, and we're still having problems with that. So I want everyone to know that we are working hard to ensure that those problems get corrected, and we appreciate all the patience. We do have teams here, and we're addressing it every day. And number 7, I do want to thank you for the approval of the Ask Me contract. Ms. Hall, who's the president of Ask Me, is here tonight, and you know, they are a hard-working team. The operations team is hard-working to ensure our schools are running successful every single day. So I want to say thank you to that, and congratulations to all the Ask Me members and employees in the operations unit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wagner, and great report. Okay, let's go on to superintendent remarks. Madam Superintendent, do you have some remarks you'd like to share with us?
I'm just going to close following Mr. Wagner's comment. I'm very grateful and proud of the work that the district, the unions, and the board did in negotiating these raises. I know it was a diligent effort, and it does appear from the reports I've seen today that they will receive their raise in their March 25th check and the retro and the one thereafter. So it all looks like we're getting that formulated, and I feel very strong about that. So Heather, we're going to make our deadline, and we'll keep you posted. So
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. Board comments. Board Member Hopes.
Well, Mr. Wagner moved from operations into student success, but I was prepared to congratulate our Formula One team also. Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Fine job. And to our teacher employees, Mr. Kenzier at Palmetto High School and Ms. Nanny at Able Elementary School with that team. They did a great job, and we look forward to their continued success. I did forward the article on to Bob Bishop, who is the Dean of the College of Engineering at USF, and encouraged him to come down and visit what we do, both at MTC with our advanced manufacturing, as well as our Formula One team and all of the great STEM programs that we have from elementary school on up. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Board Member Hope. That's great. Okay, Board Member Golden.
You skipped Board Member Kennedy.
Well, I'm going, oh, I'm sorry. I apologize, Mr. Kennedy. Board Member Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a couple of things, and one of them is in my email. Please bear with me 1 second. Actually, Mr. Minor, if you don't mind, could you go to Reverend Golden first?
That's not a bad idea.
Great,
Okay. Board Member Golden. Mr. Kennedy agrees with me. You ought to go next. Would that be all right, please?
That's fine.
Okay.
I just would like to take this opportunity to thank the Bradenton Rotary Club for extending an invitation to me to be their Black History Month speaker. I really appreciate the opportunity to share. I also want to particularly thank Mr. Edwards from MTC and Mr. Goff from Construction Services, who went with me to that activity as part of a contingent from the school district. And I appreciate that so very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Board Member Golden. Mr. Kennedy, are we all set?
Not yet. Could you go to Vice Chairwoman Messenger real quick?
Well, that's up to Vice Chair Messenger.
Mr. Chair, I had this email in front of me 20 minutes ago, and it has somehow escaped me, but if you don't mind. If you don't mind.
Okay.
No, that's right.
Okay, Vice Chair Messenger, board comments.
I typically like to be pretty short and sweet, but I'll talk slower for Mr. Kennedy. I know that us being here tonight was a big undertaking for a lot of people. And I just want to express how appreciative I am, especially to Susan and Nick, who I think have worked tirelessly. And again to Michelle and Kelly, who again I think worked tirelessly to make tonight possible. And so I just wanted to express my appreciation to them. We did have, I don't know, I'm not very good at counting, estimating numbers, but I think we estimated about 300 people. You know, that wouldn't have been possible downtown in our boardroom. And so I wanted to express my appreciation for all of their hard work. I also want to express appreciation and gratitude to the communications team and Mr. Barber. I know that we sent them through a loop 6 months ago when we decided to do this whole crazy thing. And I'm just appreciative of all the record keeping and the counting and everything that you had to read and do. I just appreciate all of that. With that, even slower talking, I really would like to express something that Superintendent Saunders brought up about Art Slam Saturday. It's a fabulous event. There'll be lots of schools there represented. I'm a big supporter of the arts, and it's a great way to see all the different art that's happening in our schools and expose your children to art. And it's just a great event. Last year, my daughter decorated cookies, because that's art. Decorating the cookies. Well, she just covered everything in sprinkles. Still, art. I'm going really slow for you, Mr. Kennedy. Finally, after you do Art Slam, you have to go to Parish, because it's the Parish Chili Cook-Off.
Oh, boy, my favorite.
So you all, my friends here, need to be there. Saturday, that's your lunch.
This Saturday? Yeah.
This Saturday, March 2nd, be there. Sorry, I went as slow as possible.
Okay. Thank you very much, Vice Chair Messenger. Now, Mr. Kennedy, Board Member Kennedy.
This is the most
time has come.
bizarre thing.
The
I mean, this
opportunity.
email was just in front of me, and I know how to use my email, and I'm searching, and it's, but I'll get home, and 10 minutes after I get home, be like, oh, there it is. That's where I moved it to. But I don't think I moved it. But anyway, got it. Okay. I know it's been a long night, and I too want to thank Michelle and Kelly and the MSTV staff. This was quite a bear tonight, and so props to you all for putting on this show. I just have 3 things I want to share, all 3 of which I believe are really important to the district. And I know it's been a long one, but I really want to get these out and share them. First is earlier today in this very room, there was a presentation done by, I believe his name was Stephen Driscoll. He's a Secret Service agent with a master's degree in education. And he was here in what was a session for school district people and law enforcement. And he did 4 hours. I'll give that guy credit. He's energetic. He did 4 hours on basically what are called threat assessment teams and efforts that school districts have undergone, including Manatee County, to keep our kids safe. And just one of the, I hate to boil down 4 hours into one topic, but just a reminder for us as a board and as a district that one of the best ways to keep kids safe is to make sure they have a school climate where they feel encouraged to speak out, and they feel like they are supported. And we have a lot of really, in student services, we have a lot of really good folks in our school psychologists and counselors. But you know, just a constant reminder that we can put up fences and swipe cards and all the physical stuff, but what is really most effective is kind of the soft skills of making kids feel they are included and heard in a school environment. Next, Protect Our Public Schools is holding a community forum on March 14th at 5:30 at the South County Library. And the topic of that, as the superintendent held a meeting on last week, and I talked about it at the last board meeting, the topic is community partnership schools. And I've talked about it a few times, and there seems to be some momentum building for the community partnership model. And it looks like we may even have some ideas taking off in our own school district. So this event at the South County Library is not being put on by the school district, it's being put on by an interested parent group. But I wanted to share that Thursday, March 14th at the South County Library at 5:30. So if you are interested in community partnership schools, please come out and get some more info. And then finally, yesterday, I was at a conference, and I was there with, again, unbeknownst to each other, I got there, and there was about 8 Manatee School District employees at this conference, too. It's called the All Together Now Conference. And there was really, for my board members, I want to make you aware that, and this is the email that I was digging for, because to me, when you hear these numbers, I don't want to be melodramatic, but I really believe that we have a subgroup of kids in our school district who, I don't want to say in crisis, but are certainly, we need to be mindful. We need to be mindful of making sure, like I said, all kids are protected and are treated fairly and equitably. But let me just share a couple numbers with you. This group of students, and this is from the CDC Youth Risk Behavior Survey of 2017. 27.5% of these students were bullied on school property, compared to 12% of the whole student population. 23% of them have attempted suicide, compared to 4% of the whole group. And 58% had reported feelings of hopelessness, extended periods of hopelessness, compared to 23% of their peers. And there are some other equally alarming numbers about what these students report is a negative school environment for them. And the group of kids that I'm talking about are LGBT students. And for me, I went to the conference because I had met Dee Palazzo from Equality Florida previously, and I got on the mailing list, and that's kind of why I was there. And like I said, I got there, and there's a bunch of school district people here. This is great. And I want to thank Noelle De La Cruz for sending me this info because, I kind of asked her in a rush, like, hey, can you kind of put something together for me that I can share with the board about these numbers? And she did that, and Noelle, thank you for that. When you look at these numbers, it is stunning the outcome or the school environment that these kids are reporting. And not all of it's school, some of it's societal. But just a reminder to all of us, again, that there are avenues available. Some schools have gay straight alliances. Some schools have what are called coexistence clubs, so that we can include all students in a student club where we can make everybody feel welcome, regardless of your status, whatever however you express yourself or identify yourself, or all those parameters. So it was just really yesterday morning as the conference opened, we shared some of those numbers, and I wanted to share them with you because they are dramatic, and I want to, as a district, keep our eye on making sure every student feels included. I know there is a working group in the district on these issues, and I look forward to hearing more from that working group and maybe sitting in on a meeting or two with them to not only educate ourselves, because there was terminology that, I thought I was up on some of these issues, and I got to this conference yesterday and I found out I don't know anything about LGBT issues. So but I guess that's what you go to a conference for. So anyway, I just want to give those guys a shout out for the work they're doing in the district, and sorry I was a little more long-winded than I wanted to be, but thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, well, thank you, Board Member Kennedy, and I'm glad that Vice Chair Messenger talked really slowly so you could get that together. So I want to thank my fellow board members for a great evening. There wasn't 100% agreement on everything, but when is there? And we did great things tonight. I think that the way it was handled was great. I think that, what we've seen is the army of staff that we've had, perform just terrifically. And, the most obvious, we have Michelle and Kelly over there and the superintendent bringing this all together, and staff and our TV folks. It's a huge job, and it was put together just wonderfully, for our community. I think we had tonight reports about how well our staff is working, how well our students is working, how well we're moving forward. And I just think that the community is gradually getting that message that this is a district on the move, something they can be very proud of. What the message that Mr. Kennedy, and thank you for attending that conference in St. Petersburg, is very important. And it's every student in our school district is very important. This particular subgroup is a greater challenge than most of the other students. And I think that I wouldn't mind having a workshop where Mr. Kennedy could share more information about what he learned. And I thank him for attending, and for the superintendent encouraging staff to be there. I think that what I know, and I think Mr. Kennedy knows more about this than me. In this subgroup, the suicide rate, for students in it is like 2 or 3 times the other groups. What reduces what they found in data is that having supportive groups like the Straight Alliance, or what do they call it, Straight Gay Alliance, where schools have that, it's significantly reduced. And I don't know to what extent we have groups like that in our district, but I do know that we all, should be concerned about, how that kind of grouping discrimination, has affected a lot of students. It's not just a few. I think I related at the last board meeting or one before, where I confessed to greatly underestimating, the number of, or the percentage of students that are in that group. At the Central Florida Public School Board Coalition, I think they asked me, and I said, well, maybe 15, 25. Well, we're talking more like 40, something like that. And I was very, very surprised. Anyway, it's a great meeting, a lot of learning. There's a lot of things to do. I'd like to take part in all of them, but I probably get exhausted. And I think there's going to be a crew out there picking my body up Sunday morning with the Take Stop and Children 5-yard race or something like that. And I look to seeing everybody else there. If there's no other further comments, I'm going to call this meeting to adjourn. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for coming.